Digging out while the snow is still falling. The 2024 Pi Day storm is circling over Colorado.
We're not out of the snow yet. Our team of meteorologists is tracking the storm that is still dumping and when we can expect to see it clear out.
Went to flip on the bathroom light and no lights, so right away I knew there's no power.
The heavy wet snow is causing problems for power and trees, with thousands having lost power today.
The big trucks made such a mess of I-70 overnight that CDOT says they have to wait until tomorrow.
And our snow chaser, Corey Reppenhagen, is hanging out in the bullseye of the storm with massive totals. 9 News team coverage starts now. Just after 4 o'clock on this Pi Day, we're piling up the snow in Colorado. Here's a live look at the radar. The snow is not finished with us yet. In the last 15 minutes, though, we did get some good news from CDOT. They've reopened I-70 between Silverthorne and Golden in both directions. This is for passenger traffic only. It's been closed since yesterday. But finally, people that have been stuck on the highway can get moving again, many of them camping out in Silverthorne in their cars. It is just open to passenger vehicles. Commercial vehicles, like semis, will not be allowed on again until tomorrow at noon.
A lot of that mess was centered in Clear Creek County, where they've declared a disaster because of the mix of snow and stranded drivers. People were stuck on I-70 near Idaho Springs overnight. This emergency declaration opens up the county for additional state resources and funding, and also is just a way to get everybody's attention to say, please don't come through Clear Creek County if you don't have to. Our extended coverage continues with our teams across the state, from the foothills to the mountains to here in the metro area.
The storm, as we said, is not finished just yet. We have more snow coming in the evening hours tonight, so we're getting ready for that.
And a number of folks are going to see a snow day from school tomorrow. Denver Public Schools out, and 3 districts are going to extend next week's break by giving kids tomorrow as well. Cherry Creek, Jeffco, and Dougco schools.
We want to start with the forecast because, Kathy, so many people are wondering, when does it stop?
Kim, this is going to be hard to hear, but we have another 12 hours.
Whoa.
We do.
Okay.
Yep.
Brace for it.
Yep. Before we really start to see some major improvement. The storm, the center of the circulation, is still west and south of Colorado. The counterclockwise flow pulling up so much moisture into Colorado that we've just seen unbelievable snow totals. East to northeast winds bringing those heavy snow bands right back into the Front Range. But this storm is having some impacts east of our state as well, in the form of severe weather and travel delays from Dallas, Wichita, Omaha, large hail, and they're dealing with a severe weather threat that continues to grow tonight. We're under a winter storm warning until 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. Denver, you're looking at another 4 to 9 inches of snow on top of what you've already seen. The snow will end early on Friday, but the impacts remain for tomorrow. We'll start with a handful of some of our bigger totals. Aspen Springs in Gilpin County, 44 inches of snow and still coming down. Conifer, 36 inches of snow. Genesee, 31 inches of snow. 33 in Pine Cliff. Compare that with Denver at about 9, and these numbers growing. I have more. Look at these numbers. 18 in Lone Tree, 17 in Ken Carroll, 14 in Parker, Cherry Hills with 10. DIA, only 1.1 inches of snow. That's another story. 11 inches in Elizabeth, 14 in Aurora, and Lakewood. Golden coming in with 16 inches of snow. We're still tallying these numbers, as you might imagine, and many of the live on cameras, we're seeing those kind of snowed over. We've got snow in the dish, so impacting some of those views. We are at 32 degrees in Denver, so it's not an overly cold storm. And what you're seeing on the roadways is a lot of water and a lot of snow. And then tonight, it's going to freeze and refreeze, and that's going to become the second part of our weather story. Winds coming in out of the north and the northeast, and we've had some areas of blowing snow over some of the higher passes, creating just treacherous travel conditions for those that are actually out and about. This bullseye area, yesterday we were talking about the potential for 2 to 4 feet of snow due due to deep upslope conditions, and that is absolutely played out. We're still seeing heavy snow falling in these areas with winter storm warning criteria out again through 6 a.m. tomorrow. It's a massive storm, the center of circulation north of Phoenix. All that moisture coming up from the south into Colorado, and that means more snow tonight. There's actually rain showers showing up on the radar around Burlington, west of Lamar, and the rain snow line right along I-25 at Pueblo. But these bands are coming in, so if you get a lull in the action, you think you're done, we have like spokes on a wheel, another round of snow coming from the northeast back toward the west into the metro area. And where you're seeing some of the heavier purple bands, or where we're seeing the accumulation rates in that ½ inch to 1 inch per hour, and more moisture will continue to feed in. So an ongoing situation that will continue overnight tonight with some improvement as we get into the wee hours of the morning tomorrow. We remain under a winter storm warning in Denver through 6 o'clock tomorrow for an additional 4 to 9 inches of snow. Foothill areas could see another 7 to 14 inches of snow on top of what you've already seen. So snow continues tonight. We'll continue to watch it tomorrow morning. We do start to see some improvement by 4 o'clock in the morning, 12 hours from now. And then by tomorrow afternoon, you might actually have a little sunshine and things will start to melt. We get that time to shovel and to dig out. We're going to talk much more about this and look ahead to the weekend forecast coming up.
All right. Thank you, Kathy. We'll be staying on us throughout the evening. Our Rachel Krause is joining us from I-70 along Silverthorne area. She, like many others, had been stuck trying to get just to Silverthorne, got there, and now finally traffic is moving, Rachel. It's a big news.
Area was shut down to traffic. The best of news, I-70 is back open eastbound. The sound of traffic is sometimes so irritating, now such a welcome sound for travelers. You typically hear the hallelujah chorus for folks as they hit the road here. And just 30 minutes or so ago, this whole area, this whole stretch of I-70 eastbound was an absolute semi-truck parking lot. Take a look at this video from about 3:30. Absolutely just semis parked, all lined up here on I-70. Again, drivers can now drive on I-70 from Vail to Denver. Once again, commercial drivers are not able to be driving on I-70 eastbound right now, but this is still such welcome news for folks who have been stuck. A lot of people spent last night out sleeping in their cars, waiting it out, hoping that the roads would clear enough that they could get right back on the interstate. But others that got stuck, you know, they've been taking it in stride and just waiting patiently.
We've been making the most of our time.
It's an adventure.
Yeah, exactly. We're trying to make the most of it.
And we have a good group.
Yeah.
We all love each other, and it's beautiful out here, and everyone's nice.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the most important thing is just that everyone stays safe.
Yeah.
And getting frustrated isn't going to change anything. So let's just be happy.
Those guys, they're visiting Colorado from California. Even after missing their flights, they're still in a really good mood, and it's easy to understand why it's such a gorgeous place to be stuck at. And now drivers, they don't have to be stuck here any longer now that I-70 is open as of about 10 minutes or so. And we've been seeing a steady amount of traffic leaving their cars, leaving the parking lots that they've been calling home for the past 24 hours and finally hitting the road. But again, if you don't have to be out on the roads, you don't have to be out on I-70, don't. There's more snow on the way, and we don't know how long these roads will stay open.
Rachel, thank you. So we're going to give I-70 a try, right?
Yeah, we are.
If you can drive it for the first time in 17 hours, let's give it a try. This is a live look at driving westbound on I-70. You saw the new Mount Blue Sky exit, formerly Mount Evans. They're going through Idaho Springs, and clear driving on the roads. What did the realtor tell us about an hour ago? That they got about 3 feet of snow in town?
Yeah, he's been out there shoveling all day. They've been showing up to the grocery store in snowmobiles. Our Lauren Robinson is on I-70 heading westbound. How's it looking, Lauren? Oh, okay, that is Lauren. I realized she wasn't talking, but I'm talking for her. Anyway, there she is, driving by Epic. There's that Epic Pass. This has kind of been an epic storm for a lot of people as well. But looks pretty good. It's wet, though, and it's going to get colder, but thank goodness it's not like what we've been looking at for the last 24 hours, which is really scary stuff. We got a lot of great things to look at as well. It's been a snow day for so many folks, majority of people, snow day. A lot of people working from home that had to work from home, but the kids are out of school, businesses are closed, and everybody's out enjoying it. Dogs are digging it, and nothing better. And yeah, cats, look at that. You got little kiddos. It's a good time. Thank you for sharing all these great photos with us. A lot of smiling, a lot of good, hearty Colorado folks.
This storm has done what we thought it was going to do, right? Not a lot of surprises with this storm in terms of who was going to get the most, who was going to get the least. The timing of things, sure enough, the bullseye centered up right on the foothill areas above 7,000 feet, around 6,000 feet rather. Meteorologist Corey Reppenhagen spent the night in Aspen Park, where he had lots of snow and then a lull, and now back into the snow globe, Corey.
Back into the snow globe. This storm has really been impressive. We've really had not too much of a lull here in the foothills as we went through the day. The snow has been really big all throughout the day. You can see right now, just look around me, the snow is just piling up deep as far as the eye can see on trees, roadways, vehicles. In fact, they're cleaning up in front of me here. The bed and breakfast that we're at is trying to get the roadway out here open again so that they can have new guests come in. But right here in the background is my Subaru. I'm gonna get a little measurement back here. You can see this yardstick just get buried deep in there, 22.5 inches on top of this vehicle, and this has been blowing off. I'm gonna try to hop down here while they're plowing through here, but you can see just how big this snow totals are. We measured 24 inches just a minute ago over by our truck, and in the area, we're talking about a big hit here, upwards of 36 to 45 inches in this part of the foothills, over on the other side near I-70. So it's a significant storm hit, and we're not letting up here. Kathy said that there'll be about another 12 hours. That immediately makes me calculate as the plow driver kind of continues to try to get this area clean here for the new guests. So 12 hours, we've been getting snowfall rates of almost a ½ inch per hour. So if we get 12 more hours, that's at least 6 more inches if we stay at this rate. And it looks like we might get a little bit heavier rates coming up. So we're looking at maybe getting ourselves up to that 30-inch mark right here where I'm sitting by the end of this storm.
Wow. That's something. And Corey, I know he's been working, I think, 24 hours for us too. So we really appreciate you. You and Chris Hansen, you guys have been out there watching it. And inch by inch, every time we come back to you, there's a couple more inches.
I know, it's been impressive. You know, it's fun to watch a storm, it's fun to forecast a storm, but I just love to get out in it after the forecast and watch it verify. And this one has been very satisfying to actually watch this unfold in the foothills. I know they're used to it, but this is actually bigger than most of the storms they see up here.
Verify.
You know, if we were talking about sports betting, what he talks about is verifying. It covered, right? The storm covered. He laid down a bet and the storm covered, right? Right? Go cash in your ticket, Corey, because your storm covered. Thank you, sir.
Big money.
Yeah, big money. So we're seeing a number of small power outages across the state. That's what happens when the tree limbs come down, right? It's not entire swaths of cities knocked out, but it's here, there, and everywhere. Xcel's reporting about 40,000 customers without power. They say they've got 300 employees out working on those outages. Here in the city of Denver, the city says that its snow removal plan pretty much went as expected, and we have not seen any visual evidence today that it didn't work as expected. Main streets are clear. They've been clear since this morning, and the side streets got their single pass a day from the smaller plow system in Denver.
And we know everyone in the burbs is talking about the same thing. Which streets got plowed, which ones didn't. Golden, we know we talked to Angeline McCall. She said things were going really well in Golden this morning. But it's been Steve all day in Centennial. Steve on our side out there. He's been in Centennial. You've been witnessing everything from the roads, but mostly shoveling and taking care of people's trees and visiting with all your new neighbors.
Yeah, you know, we decided to take a break from the actual work, and we wandered over to Willow Springs Open Space, which is the old Inglewood Reservoir, if anybody who lives in this area knows about it. I'd never seen people sledding here before, but we ran into a group of Arapahoe High School seniors who were just taking the afternoon. Kidson Hill is here with me. Show me what happened to you.
So me and my friend had an air mattress, and we decided to go down this slope, and we made this huge jump. I was right behind him, and as soon as we hit, my head hit the back of his head, and I just started gushing blood.
Oh.
And I haven't cared for about an hour and a half.
You look at, okay, so you tell me you're going to be in a production of Mean Girls with Arapahoe High School, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm playing Aaron Samuels.
Okay.
It just got postponed today and tomorrow, but we're still going to be doing the play.
But you could put a little like cover up over the nose, right?
I sure hope so. It might be broken.
But you don't care right now because you're out here having fun.
Exactly.
So you built a jump.
Yeah.
I'm not going to take that jump.
My friend is actually still building it.
He's building this.
Doing it, yeah.
He's got the jump down here.
He's preparing it for you, yeah.
Preparing. Oh yeah, there is no way. I don't want to look like you. That would be bad for business. Okay. So there's the jump. Okay. Okay. So we're going to race, right?
Yes, sir. Let's go.
I am incredibly nervous right now.
Keegan, move.
You're going pretty far that way, right? Okay. Let's give it a shot.
You ready? You on you. It's your count.
Get it, Steve.
All right, 1, 2, 3.
Oh, he lived up to everything we needed.
Is that microphone working still? I don't know. Did I hit the jump?
No, you did not.
I didn't hit the jump.
Actually, there's a small jump right there.
That wasn't the jump. Okay.
That was a tiny jump.
Does my nose look like you?
No, but mine's bleeding again.
Okay. Well, sorry for causing that.
Fault.
So they told me this is the easier way to get up. I'm not gonna stick around with you guys while I labor to get back up this hill. Oh, you're gonna take that from me? What a guy.
That's great.
What a guy. They tell me, by the way, guys, you were talking about the snow day. They get tomorrow off too, but Littleton Public Schools, they have to go back next week. Spring break is a week later. So
Yeah, they're on the same
temporary
schedule
break
as
for them.
DPS. They got to wait another week. Steve Stager, thank you. That was great stuff. I love it. He just got dumped off the sled and goes, "Was that the jump?" No, it wasn't the jump, Steve. Our team coverage continues till 7 o'clock. Nightly news is going to be on KTVD. Next is going to be an hour long tonight at 6 o'clock. And then we'll extend our 10 o'clock newscast for the full hour until 11 o'clock. You can watch it all here or stream it on 9 News Plus.
And he's going to be a dad soon, that guy. He'll be the fun dad. Okay, what a difference a day makes. This time yesterday, lots of people were saying, oh yeah, where's that snow? Well, it showed up. We're going to give you a 24-hour comparison.
It's a 2-for-1 snow day deal.
Yeah, it is. A lot of schools are appreciating this. They got today and tomorrow, and in some cases, spring break next week. Dougco, DPS, Jeffco, Cherry Creek, all closed tomorrow. That was a smart move. And our Alexander Lewis found out today, snow days are a lot of fun.
Some doubted it was coming at all. No storm here yet, they said. But like Cindy in Highlands Ranch said, famous last words in Colorado, waiting for the snow. Soon, many people saw the snow. It buried this Broncos fan in Castle Rock. In some places, it was up to your knees or even deeper. Cold temps don't really seem to bother a lot of our furry friends, from livestock to dogs measuring the snow with their bellies. And some bellies hang lower than others. Corgi legs are one way to measure the snowfall. This is another. Bonus, keeps your beer cold. And the kids, I mean, it's like they don't even notice. They just know it is a perfect day to build a snowman. Alexandra Lewis, 9 News.
That's a good packing snow, good snowball fight snow, good sledding snow, good snowman snow, snow person, pardon me, snow person, it's 2024, snow person snow.
As the kids say, best day ever.
Best
Good.
day.
Best day
And tomorrow
ever.
could be exceptional too. And then it melts off for the weekend and we're back to the 60s. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Digging
This
it.
is the good stuff.
And we're hoping it's greener. You know, this time of year, I'm sick of the brown.
Yep.
So we need it. We do want to see what it looks like in your neighborhood. We always appreciate the photos. And as things evolve as well, send us your photos hitting the Near Me button on your 9 News app. Just tell us your name, where you are, and we'll look at all the people's pictures and share them from folks around our state. You know, March storms prove that Colorado weather can swing pretty wildly. They can go from calm, warm, like, okay, this is great, to the next day a blizzard. Yeah.
Jeremy Hoholo looks at that 24-hour contrast of a March in Colorado.
The month of March, the name is rooted in Mars, the Roman god of war. Yeah, whatever. Here in Colorado, it means snow. Winter's a stubborn son of the rich and wealthy. That's how I feel on nice days like today. March is that time of year when we can start transitioning to spring. Yes, you can feel it. The air is warmer. Nope, it's cold. Mild weather, more like wild weather. You could start wearing lighter clothing. Nope. It is absolutely wonderful. Yeah, if you're a polar bear, you never know what tomorrow can bring with a day like this. Come on, you know better. This is Colorado. March, it's my favorite month. People change. Things change.
Things change, Jeremy Hoholo.
Relationships change.
Yeah, to add some substance to this report here today, if you're tracking it, spring is 5 days away. 5 daes.
5 days. And we know what that means. Absolutely nothing in
Nothing.
Colorado.
Doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean anything. But get out there.
Yeah.
Get out there if you can.
You can either be upset about the wild swings or you can appreciate their beauty, you know? Absolutely. Jeremy Hoholo, thank you.
Got it, Breeze.
I love that story so much, Jeremy. Thank you for making us smile and showing us again how to appreciate a big storm that has major impacts along the Front Range and especially across the foothills where it's still snowing and we're closing in on 3 to 4 feet above 6,000 feet this afternoon. Moisture bands coming in from the northeast right up against the Front Range foothills. That is that deep upslope as the center of circulation south of Colorado creates that counterclockwise flow and brings those bands of rain and heavy snow right back into Denver, something we'll be dealing with for another 12 hours. Winter storm warning through 6 a.m. tomorrow. In Denver, another 4 to 9 inches of snow possible on top of what you've already seen. But the snow will end early Friday, and we might actually have some sunshine tomorrow afternoon. Couldn't find any sunshine on any of our cameras today. Visibility reduced by the low cloud cover, and it's kind of a wet, soggy storm, so we're seeing a lot of raindrops on and melting missing snow on some of our camera lenses like there in Greeley. Heavy snow in the high country and travel not advised, as you can imagine, with 45 inches of snow in Gilpin County, Conifer coming in at 36, 31 inches in Genesee, 33 in Pine Cliff compared to Denver at 9. It's still snowing. We're still tallying the totals, but I just wanted to give you some perspective in terms of the amounts that we have so far. 18 inches in Lone Tree, 13 in Highlands Ranch, Cherry Hills at 10, Aurora and Lakewood with 14 inches, 11 in Elizabeth. DIA, that is not a typo, 1.1 inches of snow. So this will not go into the record books as one of our bigger March storms because DIA is where our official observation station is located. High temperatures today, not overly cold in the upper 30s, and temperatures now right at 32 with heavy snow out at DIA and travel delays, as you've been hearing about all afternoon. We continue to see the moisture bands push back in to the Front Range out ahead of our storm, the severe weather threat growing with tornadoes and baseball-sized hail from Kansas through Oklahoma into Texas. A few rain showers showing up on the radar outside of Pueblo and Lamar. Not a lot happening around Sterling and Otis. Heavy moisture means another round of moderate snow for Denver. So if you had a lull in the action, you thought the storm was over, oh no, we remain under that winter storm warning through 6 a.m. tomorrow for an additional 4 to 9 inches of snow here in the light blue areas, another 3 to 6 inches of snow, and it's possible to see well over a foot of additional snowfall in the foothills. This system's going to sit and churn over the Four Corners area, dropping far enough to the south that we'll start to see some of that drier air working in early tomorrow morning, but not until tomorrow morning. And then that drier air will cut off the snow, but southern Colorado is still going to be dealing with those heavy snow showers from Colorado Springs down to Pueblo and back into the southwestern mountains. The mountain accumulation, we're starting to see lighter amounts, but still 4 to 8 inches possible across the San Juan, the La Garita Range, and the Central Mountains. Denver with that heavy snow now goes through 7 o'clock, 11:30 tonight, right through 4:30 tomorrow, and then look, a little bit of a drying trend by 8:30 tomorrow, and maybe, just maybe, a little bit of sunshine by midday. The accumulation amounts on top of what you've already seen, this is your forecast. Again, it's possible another 4 to 9 inches in Denver, with the foothill area seeing an additional 6 to 12 to 18 inches of snow. Low temperatures tonight, colder at 25, and that means what's wet on those roadways will become icy snowpack and make for treacherous driving conditions. I think we'll get to 40 tomorrow with some sunshine. We have 50s in east central and southeastern Colorado. And in Denver for tonight, winter storm warning for additional accumulation, another 4 to 9 inches possible, our low at 25. We see clearing tomorrow. The snow should end by 8 a.m. We get a partly sunny day by lunchtime, and that should help to boost our temperatures, if we're lucky, into the lower 40s. Give us some time to dig out and shovel out ahead of a beautiful weekend. Upper 40s with sunshine Saturday and Sunday, then into the 60s we go for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday next week.
We've put everything that you need to know about the storm in one easy place. Link to the radar closings as we get them. Info on how to get through the storm. Just text the word snow to 303-871-1491, and we'll text you back with that info.
4:30 now on this 14th day of March, Pi Day. How's your day going? We know a lot of people have been inside. I don't know if it's Pi Day storm, the right name, spring break, snowstorm. I don't know, there's a lot of things we could call this storm. But as we look at the radar, this storm is saying, well, I like it here in Colorado. I'm going to stick around for a little longer. You probably are seeing more snow coming down. Lots of moisture with this guy.
With the snow-packed roads, CDOT expected closures in places. CSP told us yesterday there would be closures on I-70 and on 40 and on 119, and sure enough, it happened today. But look at this, I-70 looking nice.
Good.
Looking nice. Back open to passenger vehicles, not commercial traffic. Tunnels are open. Berthoud and Loveland passes are closed. We have got team coverage that rolled on from the early morning hours clear through the evening. Evan Krugel's tracking power outages and conditions around the Denver metro area. Ariel Arsuto's been talking to folks who got stuck in the mountains on I-70. But let's first go to Julissa Arizari to talk travel at DIA, where hundreds of flights were canceled.
Yeah, absolutely. And our day started early this morning as well. We decided to figure out how easy it was to get to DIA today. And honestly, we went through the A line, started at Union Station, went straight here through the airport, and there really was no complaints. It was just about 5 minutes behind schedule. But when you get into the airport, it's a completely different story. There's definitely a mixed bag of stories here in the airport of what people have been going through. Now, right now here, we are at a terminal actually, and this is the terminal where Frontier and United are at. Some United flights are at. And like I said, it's a bit of a mixed bag. We see people headed to gates. We've also seen people sleeping at gates, stuck here already for 16 hours. Now, so far, according to FlightAware, we've had more than 800 cancellations thus far, with more than 260 delays. We're hearing from some people who have been stuck here since midnight, and they say they may not get out until Saturday. But the big talk has been the fact that there hasn't been a lot of snow here at DIA. In fact, the tarmacs are clear while some light, steady snow continues to fall. You know, if you plan to come out here, you definitely should be checking your flight status, because they're right. I mean, I am looking out the window right now, and it's just a light, steady snow, I would say, that's happening right now here at DIA. But the tarmac is clear. So that's hopefully the goal, is that planes are actually leaving, right? And that these canceled flights, you know, are being able to be rescheduled again and people can get out the door. But definitely a big mix back here. A lot of people, a lot of blankets, a lot of people sleeping with blankets and, you know, dealing with such a long day. Hopefully it's over soon.
Julissa, in that shiny new part of the airport with the higher ceilings that also has far fewer trapped angry birds inside than the old
Oh,
part.
yeah. It's all pretty and clean.
Right. Julissa, thank you.
Now we want to get to our Ariel Arsuto, who has been following the trials of some folks that have been stuck on I-70 for many, many hours and now are finally out.
Yeah, Kim and Kyle, what started as an absolute nightmare last night actually has a pretty happy ending. They are all nice and home, warm, and even making pizzas right now at their houses. After they left Vail yesterday at 3 o'clock, they got stuck at Idaho Springs, right outside of that Idaho Springs tunnel at midnight. They didn't move from that spot until almost 2 p.m. today, before they finally had the roads open when they could move and get back on that bus at that point. They were without food. They were without water. They were without their medication at that point. Somebody on the bus was a diabetic, didn't have their insulin with them. They thought they were just going up for a quick little ski trip that they take every single Wednesday, a group of 60 of them every Wednesday, to Vail and turning right back around, but ended up having a horror situation. But they said that they now have a cautionary tale.
What the cautionary tale is, if you're going to travel, even if it's just a bus ride, have your medications with you for those of us who, you know, went without it for almost 24 hours. And the other thing is just to keep your spirits up and look at the positive side, not the negative things that could possibly happen.
I think the key question is, are you going back on this trip next year when it starts back up again?
Yes, I've been doing it for 20 years, and this is the first time that we've ever had an incident. So I'm going to say that percentage-wise, it says go ahead and give it a try.
So you're saying there's a chance. I like those odds. I like the odds of getting right back out there and trying it again because you know what? You got to live life to its fullest, and their fullest is doing this Wednesday ski trip every single time, every single week with 60 of their best friends. Kyle and Kim?
I get that. I totally get that. My concern, I know it's yours as well, Kim, is our bladders living their lives to their fullest on I-70 in a situation like that.
That's my thing. It's a thing. Ariel, if somebody tells me I don't have access, then suddenly I really need it.
Hey,
weird.
They had one bathroom on that bus for all 60 of them. And you know what? While that sounds like a nightmare, think about everybody else on 70 who had 0 bathrooms. So I think they just said they were thankful that they even had that one bathroom, whether it was full, backed up, or not.
Just having it.
Just having it.
Okay. Otherwise, the options.
Access is everything.
All right, Ariel, thank you. Hey, reminder, when you see the plows out doing their thing like this, when they're in formation like Beyonce's dancers, not passing them is not just human decency, it's also the law, right? Increased penalties took effect in 2019 for any drivers who pass plows that have their lights on. Doesn't matter if that's one of the CDOT plows or another agency's plows. Passing them could lead to fines, potential points on your license. It's also just mean to the people who are trying to keep us safe. So let's not.
Yeah, back off. Let them do their work. We're so happy to see them. We want to get to Evan Krugel, who's been in the Wheatridge area for the most part all day long. And you've been talking a little bit about power outages. We know they've been spotty. In some cases, lights have been just flickering, but they've been going on since the overnight hours.
Yeah, Kim, some of those outages started here at 2 a.m. this morning. That means some folks, including here on this block, have now been without power for 14 hours. And it's really not hard to see why. This area has been absolutely hammered with snow. Here's the issue that Excel is seeing. Take a look at this video we shot just a couple of hours ago. You can see that heavy, wet snow hitting overhead lines and weighing down those lines, causing hundreds of outages. And here's the issue. Some of those outages are only impacting a home or even half of a block in certain cases. So there's no easy fix to get everyone back online. Instead, Excel says it's a time-consuming process moving from line to line as those crews battle snow to try to safely restore power. Currently, they say there are about 39,000 customers dealing with an outage, and it has some here in Wheatridge growing a bit concerned as they prepare for a night ahead with no power.
We'll just be patient and the Excel do their job and get us back going. Usually with the freezer, it'll stay pretty, the ice in there, it'll stay pretty cold for a while. And so I think we'll be okay as long as it doesn't go into tomorrow.
And now one thing we've seen, including on that man's block and on this block, certain sides of the street have power, like this side, certain sides don't. So we've seen a lot of neighbors helping each other out. The good news, lots of heavy, wet snow to shovel. That'll help keep folks warm, even if they don't have power inside.
Oh,
Kyle,
Lift
Kim.
with your legs. Lift with your legs. Yeah, there you go. Lift with your legs.
I'm still young, Kyle. I'm still young.
Well, then you lift with whatever you want. The rest of us will lift with our legs because we don't want to be laid up for 3 days. So, no, it's good stuff. Thank you, Evan. Appreciate it.
Smart.
Fresh snow is always fun to play in the mountains. Not so good when you're stuck trying to get in or out of the mountains. We're looking at all the closures. Lots of people have been stranded today, although things are moving on I-70 right now. Can't really tell from that.
Oh, there we go. Here comes a, hold on. They told us no semis.
I know, and that's what we're looking at.
What's he doing? Huh? I don't want to narc on somebody on live TV, but I got questions about that semi because they said no commercial traffic. We're back in a minute.
Our reporter Chris Vanderveen got stranded up there last night, I think, and we're going to check in with him. Chris,
Right, Chris.
are you out there? Chris,
We are certainly out here. We're seeing it. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
We see you. It's unbelievable amount of snow. It's caused us some technical problems throughout the night, as you can imagine. But we are back up.
Are you standing up, Chris?
No, fortunately not. But this is actually what it's like to sit in 4.5 feet of snow. I'm actually.
Our reporter Chris Vanderveen got stranded up there last night, I think, and we're going to check in with him. Chris,
Right, Chris.
are you out there? Chris,
We are certainly out here. We're seeing it. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
We see you. It's unbelievable amount of snow. It's caused us some technical problems throughout the night, as you can imagine. But we are back up.
Are you standing up, Chris?
No, fortunately not. But this is actually what it's like to sit in 4.5 feet of snow. I'm actually, the feet's not coming close to touching the ground. So what's the plan for the rest of the day?
Oh, who are those babies? This storm is deja vu for a lot of people in parts of Clear Creek. Our Chris Vanderveen was stuck on I-70 21 years ago. You can so relate. It was when you
Feels like it was yesterday, Kim.
Feels like it yesterday. Except
Those
for,
21 years go by like
it's
that.
so quick. It's a blink.
Oh
you know?
man, holy cow! What like, it does. It just sort of brings back all those sort of memories.
Was that your first like big
I
time
had
snowstorm
been
as a
here
reporter?
for maybe a little bit less than a year.
Yeah.
And they're like, go cover the mountains. And I'm like, sure, I'll go cover the mountains. And then we get stuck there for like a bunch of days. And then forever after that, I was sort of known as the guy that got stuck up in the mountains. Didn't know my name. Sometimes it'd be like, oh, that's that Vanderveen, or the guy with the long last name. But at that time it was like, you were the guy that was stuck up in the mountains.
Yeah, I mean, people were watching the news back then 24/7. They didn't have the old phone and Twitter.
Nothing to sort of occupy
you.
their minds except just sort of television. It was amazing, but like it was the connection that we had with the audience was remarkable. And it's just like you sort of still feel that today. You see those people up in like parts of Boulder County and Jefferson County and Central and near Central City and all those type of things. There's a lot of snow out there.
Yeah.
And if folks can come out of it with what you came out of it with, and the folks that you were stuck there in Evergreen with, which is just a good story, that's great, right? That's the outcome that we want. People just have a great story that they can tell for generations, and it's lots of fun. Nobody gets hurt.
It is, but there was not a lot of great stories last night. And that really is sort of the problem. Is sort of like, we sort of ask ourselves, what have we learned over the last few years? What have we learned in 21 years? And you have to look at you look at the video of trucks that are stuck on the interstate. All those sort of trucks that are sort of stuck overnight, lots of people trying to get through it. All of that gigantic mess that we saw on the interstate, again, it sort of is deja vu to what we saw 21 years ago. There's a woman, her name's Ashley Dyer from Texas, who was coming from Beaver Creek to go around a lot of the closures that got stuck on I-70 for hours overnight. And now she ended up getting stranded in Evergreen.
The plan is to stay in a hotel. We called this morning, got some reservations ahead of time. Might have to stay here a couple of days. That was not the original plan, but our flight got canceled, so we're here for a few more days.
How many more people are stuck in that situation right now?
Yeah, for real.
It's a lot.
I mean, I do think that it's striking that in all our conversations this afternoon with CDOT, with CSP, with Clear Creek County, nobody could give us a number. nobody did give us a number of how many people got stuck like that. And to CSP's acknowledgement, they said that one of the first things that they do once they clear the highways, they try to get an aircraft up to then look for people that they might not have even heard of, right? Somebody who's stuck with a dead phone, with a mobility issue, something like that. That's when we start to get into scarier territory.
But that's when it really, I mean, we've seen those storms here in Colorado before, where it's just so many people get stuck and they go off the road, they go in areas where there's deep snow and we can't find them for a while. And that's certainly the operation that sort of happens after experiences like this. Thankfully, it doesn't seem like we've heard those stories so far. That's the good news. But again, people are going to want to get to the answer of what happened last night.
Yeah.
That led to so many semis that CSP estimates as many as 30, if not more, semis got stuck in really bad situations that blocked a lot of the road. And they said, were it not for those semis getting stuck, which also happened in 2003, had those semis not gotten stuck, we would not have seen the prolonged closure that we saw overnight.
People would have gotten home otherwise.
Yeah. And 21 years later, we can't fix it. You get on that. Okay?
I asked State Senator Dylan Roberts that very question. I said, what's going on? What have we not learned? And I think what he told me today was that it's a lot of truckers that are from out of state. And look, this is not an anti-trucking campaign. There are clearly a lot of semi-truck drivers that follow the rules. But his point was there's also a lot that don't. And when you get caught out of state, unfamiliar with the driving, and you don't know how quickly things can turn in the mountains, and you're ill prepared for it, that creates what we had last night.
Yeah, because the responsible truckers who were chained up or impacted and losing money by all the irresponsible as well.
Yeah,
Chris,
absolutely.
thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for those good memories. Okay, we are extending our coverage until 7 o'clock here on 9 News. Nightly news will be over on Channel 20, KTVD. Next will be an hour-long special tonight. You can also stream it all on 9 News Plus. Our team coverage back after the break. Okay, we want to let you know that there was a crash at Lone Tree at C470 and I-25. That's been cleared. Crushed truck crashed through a guardrail, careened down a hill, and stopped in an apartment complex parking lot. No injuries. There was a minor fuel spill, but the crash itself has been cleared. again, they're still dealing with snow, and we've seen a lot of problem with trucks, and we don't know exactly what happened here, but no one was hurt, and the fuel spill is being taken care of.
It's been a lot of small issues, right?
Yeah,
a lot of
it has.
small issues kind of here, there, everywhere around the metro area. I want to bring in Alex Rose with Wheat Ridge PD on the phone. Alex, what have you all seen over the last 24 hours?
Yeah, really, Kyle. It started last night around 10 o'clock when this storm kind of went and flipped the switch from rain to snow. We've seen a lot of stranded motorists on our side of town. We have I-70 that kind of cuts through our jurisdiction as well. And so it's kind of run the gamut. Cars that have lost power, run out of gas, slid off the roadway. And so our people have been busy on the streets trying to help motorists throughout the evening. I think some of the bigger issues that we're seeing on this side of town, on the west side, are those downed trees and power lines that, your colleague Evan Krugel was highlighting earlier. And the sneaky thing about this storm, I think, is some of the standing water issues that we've seen, just because it was really a deluge last night of rain. And so earlier today, we were helping CDOT out, and they were draining about 8 inches of water around I-70 in Garrison, trying to filter that off the roadway. So as anybody who's watching knows, who's tried to be out on the road today, it's just kind of a sloshy, sloppy mess. And we've been trying to help motorists out through that.
Yeah, you're saying, and the flipping the switch of the snow, it was almost as if, Alex, once you got past Ward Road, if you were heading west, and I know I saw some of these rescues were on Youngfield Street in that area, it went really different last night, just after 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. It was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I was going through, and obviously you're playing some of the body camera footage, going through some of that from our officers helping out motorists last night. It was like snowing pancakes, guys. It was really coming down thick, wet, heavy snow. And so there were a whole bunch of different issues associated with that. But at the end of the day, that's why folks, reach out to our police department. We're here to help people, and we're happy to help them out of a jam if need be. I think people have, in general, done a really good job of understanding that we and other agencies are under accident alert, which means that we're just kind of going from call to call to call. And so when there are minor injuries, we love to see people, or minor accidents, I should say, we like to see people report those online so we can kind of prioritize the calls we need to get to.
Yep, that makes a lot of sense. Alex Rose, Wheat Ridge PD, thank you so much.
Thank you.
So with any storm, it really does depend on where you live, how much snow you see, because a lot of folks like in Greeley earlier were like, we got nothing.
Where's mine? Where's mine? Where's mine, right? So we've seen some pretty wild snow ranges, often just within a matter of miles. Meteorologist Chris Bianchi's along with some of his big takeaways from the storm so far. Hey, Chris.
Hey, Kyle and Kim. There's kind of two things that stand out from this storm, and I think two things that we're going to remember this storm for. First and foremost, it's this. It's these snowfall amounts for us in the foothills. And now I just counted up 18 different 30-inch or higher snowfall reports for us in the foothills. I'm going to repeat that. 18 different reports of at least 30 inches or more of snow for us here in the foothills, including, at this point, a couple of 3-foot reports for us here in the foothills. So again, this is a significant foothill storm. And the thing is, it's not over yet. Look at these estimated forecast amounts for us here in the foothills. Could be talking about an additional 1 to 2 feet of snow before this all wraps on up early tomorrow morning. So we've still got another 12 hours or so of this to go. And I think we're looking at, again, an additional perhaps foot plus worth of snowfall on top of what we've already seen. Now, the other big takeaway from this, that's takeaway one. Obviously, the foothills, that's what we're going to remember. This could end up being our biggest foothills snow event since the March 2003 event. We'll have to kind of break that down once we get a little bit deeper into the storm. The other big takeaway, this is for sure, the amount of water within this storm. You're probably walking outside. It is that gloppy, kind of snow where it's just your foot gets all waterlogged if you go through the snow. We picked up about 2.68 inches worth of snow of precipitation for us at the Centennial Airport. How about that? That makes it our wettest March storm on record. Records go back to 1998. But point being, for parts of the South Metro area, this is the wettest winter storm that we've seen since at least 1998. And maybe some cases here, this may be the wettest winter storm we've seen in decades upon decades for us on the south and west sides of the metro area. So lots of water and a huge foothill storm. Those are the two takeaways from this storm, at least so far.
And we need it. We'll take that water a little bit more than we expected.
Oh, absolutely. Chris, here, come, sit. Let's have a conversation. No, I mean, here's what I would say, and you're probably too humble to say this of your own work, but you guys nailed this one. I mean, like you nailed this one on the timing, you nailed this one on the amounts, and when we talk about how the storm response has been pretty good in a lot of places, we've heard from a lot of people impressed with how their city or county has handled the storm. It's because you guys laid out what was going to happen and when it was going to happen. That allows people to respond well. So,
yeah. Well, I do appreciate that. I will just say that there have been a few issues with the north and east sides of town, maybe not getting quite as much snow as they expected, but I think for the most part, the storm has kind of behaved itself, which is kind of weird for us in Colorado.
Yeah. You're judging yourself based on perfection and a perfect picture of the future, as opposed to pretty much substantially right so that people could get things together.
I don't see anybody fighting for 6 more inches, but just saying.
Yeah, good work.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Good work. That's it for 9 News at 4. We'll see you for 9 News at 5 next.
A blanket of white all over Colorado. So much of our state is covered today thanks to a classic March snowstorm.
Worst of the problems in the foothills and mountains, where there's a disaster declaration and major backups on the interstate.
And we have not moved since midnight.
With I-70 closed for hours, sometimes walking was the only way.
I've told you all day, if you need our help, call us.
That's right. Steve is on your side, cleaning off tree branches and sidewalks in the South Metro area.
And a whole lot of people and their pets just trying to make the best of a snow day in March. 9 News at 5 starts now.
Oh, the snow just keeps on coming. It's going to be here for a little bit. Evergreen really hit hard with this March snowstorm, seeing 3 feet of snow, and we're not finished yet. In the 9 News backyard, we've been watching the snow pile up from last night all the way through today.
Chris Bianchi says downtown Denver has seen about 9 inches of snow apropos for this shot. More on the way. I-70 was closed for 17 hours with a bunch of people stuck overnight around Idaho Springs. Not one group of first responders has put a firm number on it for us. But you know what? Traffic's moving again. It's not supposed to be semis. It's just supposed to be passenger vehicles. Here's Greeley that's now finally seeing some snow. This morning, Greeley was bone dry. But now northern Colorado is getting in on the action.
We've got team coverage for you for this special hour, long storm coverage. We've got our teams all over the place out west, and we'll get to them in a moment, but we want to start with Chief Meteorologist Kathy Sabin for the latest on this storm and when the snow might actually kind of just stop.
Kim, that is the question everybody is asking, and we probably have another 10 to 12 hours to deal with additional snowfall on top of the amazing accumulation amounts that we've already seen. The next wave already coming from the northeast, backing into the Front Range foothills, and that deep upslope continues with the center of circulation well to the west and south of us, west of the Albuquerque area, kind of wobbling over the Four Corners area and not going anywhere anytime soon. We remain under a winter storm warning through 6 o'clock tomorrow morning for an additional 4, maybe as many as 9 inches of snow along the western suburbs by midnight tonight into the wee hours of the day tomorrow when that snow finally starts to taper off. Some of the totals we've been showing you are really amazing. Very impactful with 45 inches up in Gilpin County at Aspen Springs, Conifer with 36 inches of snow, 31 in Genesee, Pine Cliff with 33, downtown Denver 9 inches and counting. So many other totals coming in, and we're adding to these numbers. 13 inches in Littleton, 16 in Golden, Lone Tree with 18 and 14 inches in Parker. And again, the snow is still falling, impacting the main arteries this evening. It's reduced visibility. I tried to grab a couple of cameras to show you what's happening, but there's still so much snow coming down on the I-70 corridor as well. So travel not advised tonight if you can avoid it. Not an overly cold storm, currently 32 degrees in Denver. And when these numbers drop tonight and the winds increase out of the north, temperatures will fall into the 20s, and what is wet out there will become icy. We've been talking about this bullseye area for the deep upslope and the 2 to 4 feet of snow forecast for the Front Range foothills, and that has certainly held true with the potential for another 6 to 12 inches of snow in those areas tonight. We'll talk much more about the additional accumulation you expect and the timing of when the storm moves out. We'll have that in just a bit.
The airport has been barely touched by this storm, just more than an inch of standing snow there. Yet, if you wanted to travel out of the airport, it was still a journey. more than 800 flights were canceled in anticipation of the storm. And of course, the usual de-icing and so forth went off for the flights that did take off today. The metro area snowfall, nothing compared to what we knew we would see and did see in the foothills.
Yeah, they're talking feet, like taller than a toddler, like feet of
Kindergartner
snow.
size.
Yeah,
snow.
kindergartner size. Aspen Park has reported 3 feet of snow, one of the hardest hit areas of the storm. So it's no surprise. That's where our storm chaser extraordinaire, man in the mountains as well as Matt Renew is to Corey Reppenhagen, said, I got to go. Send me there.
Yeah, I really did want to be in the foothills to see this storm unfold, and it has delivered, and it continues to deliver. And one of the things that really impresses me is just how widespread the big totals are, all the way from Larimer County foothills down to the El Paso County foothills. We're talking about really big snow totals, and it's going to go down as a 2 to 4 foot storm because we've got a few spots in the Gilpin County foothills that have reached that 4 foot mark. Now, I'm here in Aspen Park, and we've dug out a little trench here that we've been kind of operating under. And one of our goals, I think, was to just get the 2 foot mark in this specific spot. So let's check it out. I think we were just very close. Look at that, 24 and a half actually inches of snow here in this little spot. And we've had plenty of measurements coming in from this area in that 24 to 36 range. So it's widespread, varying across the area. So one of the things that is interesting is the sun has had an impact all day. Even though it's been diffused through the clouds, the sun has been kind of compacting that snow. And so once it's already starting to disappear. So once the sun goes down, we're going to see the snow pile up a little bit easier, and we're going to see the impacts to the roads worsen as we go into the night, guys. So that's something that we really have to watch.
Yeah. You've been measuring it, and that makes sense, the way it's so heavy, wet.
Yep, it's been so fascinating all day long to see the measurements come in, to understand how they're coming in from various folks, civilians, from train spotters, that kind of thing. Corey, appreciate all of your work up there. And then to also understand why those numbers change over the course of the day. Because we fixate on those numbers so much at the end of the storm.
Everybody wants to brag. They think they know the exact one.
Yep, who got what? Yep.
So hours-long shutdown on I-70, like 17 hours or so. Traffic's been stopped, and now it's finally back open between Morrison and Silverthorne. That's just for passenger traffic. Semis still can't get through the highway until noon tomorrow.
Our Rachel Kraus got the I-70 experience, you know? I mean, yeah, if you're here long enough, you will get the I-70 experience one day. Rachel got it yesterday into today and joins us now from Silverthorne. Hey, Rachel.
Yeah, we got to experience I-70 eastbound shutting down, and just like everybody else that was on I-70 headed through Colorado, we got stuck in Silverthorne and had to spend the night. Now, a lot of people ended up spending the night in their cars, waiting in parking lots, hoping that I-70 eastbound was going to reopen. And finally, it has, as of about an hour ago. And you can see behind me here, that exit ramp to I-70 is once again back open. And of course, nobody's getting onto it just right at this exact moment, but it is back open here this evening for travelers to come through. Passenger vehicles are able to get on I-70 eastbound from Silverthorne and Vail all the way to Denver. But take a look over here. They are stopping commercial vehicles, and they are stopping semi-trucks who are still trying to get on I-70 eastbound right now. Again, I-70 eastbound is not open to commercial vehicles, including semi-truck drivers right now, but passenger vehicles, they are able to get moving, and it seems like they're moving at a pretty solid pace, at least from what we can see here in Silverthorne. Really welcome news for folks who have been waiting for nearly 24 hours hoping to get to Denver, whether that was to catch a flight, whether it was to get back home, or whether it was to get to a totally different state and avoid this snowstorm altogether. I know we too are hoping to get on I-70 eastbound and hoping that it stays open for us as well throughout the night.
I don't blame you for hoping. Of course, we know hope is not a strategy, and hope has never opened I-70, because otherwise I-70 wouldn't close so often.
No,
but
there have been a lot of hopes like dashed overnight.
Dashed at the base of the hill in Silverthorne.
Yeah.
Rachel Kraus, thank you. We're going to continue to cover this storm here on 9 News through 7 p.m. tonight. That includes an hour-long version of Next. Then we will pick back up on KTVD at 9 o'clock before an hour-long 9 News at 10. Be right back. It was a great day for a snow day, but not much else. DCPA canceled opening night of Shrek, the musical. Hope Shrek's okay. Cirque du Soleil has canceled at Ball Arena tonight. Outlets at Castle Rock closed today. They do plan to reopen tomorrow. And the Denver Mint canceled tour. So you're thinking, oh, what about skiing? Well, it depends on where. Loveland canceled today due to the I-70 closure. Basin said that there were winds of 75 miles per hour. And the Boulder County Sheriff's Office said, don't even try to get up to Eldora. Road is no good. Several school districts have called off school tomorrow. DPS, Douglas County, Cherry Creek, Boulder Valley, and Jeffco. No school tomorrow.
And for a lot of people, this storm has left them without power. Excel's outage map shows more than 700 outages, more than 26,000 people currently without power. A lot of those outages are coming in the northwest part of the metro area.
9 News reporter Evan Krugel has been in that area for us today, and we know that it's very much kind of like a whack-a-mole game for these Excel crews, right? They'll fix somebody's issue, new line comes down, they fix somebody else's issue, and often they're only putting power back on for 1 or 2 households at a time.
Yeah, Kyle, that's exactly right. That's because Excel says there are hundreds of individual outages impacting this entire area. And now some folks here have been without power for over 15 hours. Like you said, it's not hard to see why. Branches coming down all over the place, impacting those power lines. And while Excel says they're working to get everyone back online, some folks say those lights can't come back on soon enough. There are some jobs where working from home is not an option. It's why Kane Ortega spent his day
it's real wet too
in the Wheat Ridge snow.
Yeah, oh yeah. See, it's coming down right now too. You know, we're getting wet out here. It's hot though when you're working.
And for this property manager, there was plenty of work to do.
See a big one over there too in that tree.
Clearing sidewalks and dealing with broken limbs.
I'm seeing a lot of breaks, a lot of big breaks. You know, I got to get them trees taken care of for sure. You know, they get a little heavy when we get a lot of this snow like this, and then you get big breaks.
Those breaks leaving tens of thousands without power as heavy snow messed with overhead lines in multiple counties west of Denver.
Well, woke up this morning, went to flip on the bathroom light and no lights. So right away I knew there's no power. So got up and got the flashlight out. And
Steve Swendler went to work outside to stay warm as the temperatures started to drop inside his home without heat.
I think it was 59 inside the house when I last checked. I think we'll be okay as long as it doesn't go into tomorrow.
And Excel says for some homes, that's a possibility. Of the roughly 500 outages they're dealing with today, about 300 involve just a home or two.
I checked it about 4 times this morning and there was nothing each time. So I just think we're kind of at the bottom of the totem pole, so to speak. So it's going to be a while.
Excel says crews will continue working into the night, a time-consuming effort to go home to home that Kane Ortega knows a thing or two about.
Good, I'm glad I got 4-wheel, you know, I needed that.
Yeah, it's helpful to have that 4-wheel drive out here today. Xcel Energy tells us they're going to leave some crews out overnight, but in about an hour, they're going to make a judgment call on the rest of those crews to decide whether it's safe for them to continue working into the overnight hours. I can tell you a lot of folks here in Wheat Ridge are heading to friends and relatives' homes, getting ready to potentially have a night without power. Kyle and Kim.
Yeah, it's not the news that people are going to want to hear, but at the same time, you want to know it because you don't want to be sitting in a cold house with hope that it's coming back on when your best bet is to head out.
Yeah, make a decision and move.
Yep, yep.
All right, Evan Krugel, thanks so much.
Better to know.
12 hours? 13 hours?
once we got here, it's as far as they let us go.
Oh, it's been something, Kathy, for so many folks saying, I'm stuck, I'm stranded, I'm digging out, I'm doing whatever, I'm just trying to get through the next 24 hours. And others are loving it.
Oh, the kids are loving it. Another snow day for so many kids. And next week is spring break for a lot of kids. So this is great news for the kiddos. But the folks that, you know, have somewhere to be, got work to do, you got to go somewhere. Travel is just about impossible across a large portion of our state today due to this powerful, slow-moving winter storm. Guess what? Spring arrives in 5 days on the 19th, the vernal equinox. But today it has a look and feel of all winter as we have another heavy snow band pushing westward into the Denver metro area. We remain under a winter storm warning until 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. Another 3 to 6 inches of snow for Denver overnight, but the snow will end early tomorrow morning. Might even get some sunshine. A lot of the Denver cameras are completely snowed over, but I could see a little bit with the Greeley camera, and that is wet, heavy snow out there that is really hard to navigate through with a car and hard to shovel. Still dealing with some moderate snow and poor visibility in the high country where we're measuring the snow as we forecast in feet, 2 to 4 feet, and the snow's still coming down. Denver 9 inches and counting. Any of the foothill communities seem to be well over a foot as well, with 13 in Littleton, 16 in Golden, Highlands Ranch at 13, and 18 in the Lone Tree area. And again, we'll be adding to these totals as we move throughout the afternoon and evening. 38 was our high in Denver today. It's certainly not been an overly cold storm. Out at the airport where our official weather observation station is located, 32 now, and moderate snow. We've had hundreds of flights canceled. So if you're trying to get in or out of the airport late tonight or early tomorrow, call ahead, plan ahead. This system is still spinning over the Four Corners area and will wobble towards southern Colorado, pumping a lot of water into the state. It's all rain outside of Lamar, but it's heavy snow from Pueblo, Colorado Springs along that I-25 corridor right up into Fort Collins and Greeley. And some areas in Weld County saying, where's the snow? Finally, that heavier snow band moving into that area as well. So everybody getting in on the action. The areas in red are the winter storm warning that will remain in effect overnight for additional snowfall. And in the foothills, it could be another foot of snow that we see before things calm down. The low sit spins cut off from the main flow. So even though we'll get a break from the snow in Denver tomorrow morning, southern Colorado will have snow throughout the day into the evening. We will start to see that drier air working in by 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. But tomorrow, that snow will continue for anybody that's got to travel to the southern half of the state. Mountain snow totals were back in that 5 to 10 inch range for the San Juan, the La Garita range. And here along the front range, the heavy snow continues off and on until the wee hours of the morning. And then as we kind of get into 5:30 in the morning, that snow starts to taper off from north to south and might even get some sunshine on a Friday afternoon, but not before we add to those totals another 3 to 6 inches in Denver with another 1, possibly more, a feet of snow possible above 7,000 feet tonight. Lows will be chilly at 25, which means the roads that are wet right now are going to become very icy and hard to navigate overnight tonight, and that's where we'll have the issues tomorrow morning as well. With enough sunshine, should bounce to 40 in Denver, even some 50s on the map for east central and southeastern Colorado on a Friday afternoon. Winter storm warning, another 3 to 6 inches of snow. Icy roadways are low in the mid-20s. That's where we start tomorrow morning. Snow ends right about sunrise. Into the sunshine we go for the afternoon, giving you some time to dig out. Not a lot of melting with a high of 40, but temperatures do warm for the weekend under partly sunny skies, and into early next week, temperatures will rise into the upper 50s and lower 60s. Next system we're tracking comes in at the end of next week. But this is a very significant storm for Denver. As you know, 11.6 inches of snow on average for the month, and many areas have seen double and even triple those numbers. But some improvement by about the time you wake up tomorrow morning.
Colorado snow investigator was out today, Steve, on your sidewalk, helping out folks all over the south side of the metro area. That's just how he does. He's like Mr. Suburban Neighbor Dude. But he put on that bright neon yellow and orange helping vest this morning and just went to work, shaking trees, shoveling driveways, clearing cars.
And sledding in between.
Oh, yeah, and he sled with
sledding,
the kids from Arapahoe High. Yep. Hey, Steve.
Are you?
I took a minor break from the helping just for the sledding, but we're back to the helping. So We're in Centennial. We're in the Hunters Hill neighborhood of Centennial, like Dry Creek and Yosemite. And I came upon what I'm pretty sure is a Toyota underneath all this snow. You want to know how much? My handy dandy tape measure tells me that there is, and I'm not going to scratch the paint, I promise, close to a foot of snow on the Toyota. And don't worry too, by the way, I asked the neighbor, my neighbor, I said, hey, do you mind if I brush off your car? Just to, you know, it's going to be a struggle to get this sucker out of here. But look at how much snow has piled up on top of this car. Guys, this is quite a bit, and I have a feeling that if any, look, that looks like a lot more than a foot of snow. In fact, I'm pretty sure in an effort to not damage the paint on the car that I didn't get that tape measure all the way down. But you can see quite a bit just all throughout here. So if you parked your car outside, you were in for it. Trying to get this sucker cleared off. I'm gonna just have to do the arm thing. The arm thing works so much better than the brush right now. And I promise I will reshovel his freshly cleaned sidewalk here. But this Toyota is probably not going anywhere for a while because the plow appears to have plowed it in.
Oh yeah.
But just tucked it in for the night.
We're gonna get this. Just tucked it in. It's, you know, it's sleeping. It's sleeping, guys. Sleeping, taking a nice winter nap. But there we go.
Yeah. Look at
Now it
that
has a
picture. It
mohawk,
looks like a Kincaid painting. You know what I mean? It looks like one of those little cottage scenes. You've got an adorable neighborhood, Steve. Lots of beautiful old trees, which we hope lots of them are still around after this, and all those nice houses, and the occasional car tucked into sleep.
I'll show you. There are so many mature evergreen trees all around here, and this is what's happening to so many of them right now. So it's just another reminder, get outside and shake those branches, because look at how much, that's not supposed to hang all the way down here. Look at how much snow is on these branches. I was clearing out in my backyard all morning, and you just see, and you think when Chris keeps talking about how much more snow we're about to get, you think about how much is already on here. We've seen limbs broken all over the place. We've seen Excel working to try to restore power to people's homes. This is a big one, guys. I've covered some storms in my 10 years here. This is a big one. So if you have trees, I'll try to get to as many as I can, but I can't get to all of them. So please make sure you shake your trees off. Do the Steve Miller line. We really like your snow. Can we shake your tree? Right? There's some peaches, but
you know, wait. I think you need a hot bath and a beer, Steve. You've been working too hard all day.
I'm getting there. You know, that roll off the sled in the 4 o'clock hour. That's what I'm going to be feeling. I think tomorrow, maybe. That was a good triple roll. I can't keep up with kids anymore. I'm realizing, like, the high school seniors, they're way far ahead of me.
No, you did the exact same thing that all of them are doing, just with an older body. Yeah, no.
That's
Steve,
true. That's a good point.
Thank you for your work. It truly has been work today.
Great.
And it's been fun to watch. Thank you, Steve.
We just want to remind you we're a little different tonight because we're extending our coverage. NBC Nightly News will air on Channel 20, KDVD instead. We will continue here, our storm coverage, until 7 p.m. We'll be right back.
He'll just go back and forth until he exhausts himself. He does love the snow.
Dogs are digging it, and our friends at the Dumb Friends League, their staff, they didn't get the day off today. They've got mouths to feed. They came in and took care of all of their pets, and they hope that we take care of all of our pet friends as well.
During the cold weather, definitely would limit time outside. There are certain breeds that obviously love the snow, that will really enjoy it, like our Huskies, maybe even our Pyreneeses, breeds like that. It's also really good to be mindful of the salt that might be put out during this weather. It can be quite harmful to our pets' little paws.
Good advice from them. They know their dogs and their pets, and also, look, they got the blankets ready. The pup that Megan was holding is Golden Grams, great name, and available for adoption this weekend, hopefully. Don't know much about this one, but they got all kinds of pets and cats and everything. But yeah, think about the salt and the fact that that snow builds up and it's not good on their paws and their fur, so you got to take care of them.
And remember the trick that our Mark Salinger showed us. If
Yeah.
you've got one of those dogs that gets the clumps of snow all over it, what was he using? Like a pancake batter beater kind of thing,
Yes,
you know?
an egg beater
To just
type
kind of go like that on the dog and it just whoosh, snow right off of it.
Yeah.
How about that?
I know. They have fun out there, but then they can't get it all off.
Yeah.
They can shake only so much to get rid of it. All right, we want to get over to Kathy, or we're going to take a break. Okay, Kathy's here though. We'll be right back. Okay, the snow is still coming down. We're getting the second round of the snow in. We're continuing our snow coverage here on Channel 9. If you're looking for NBC Nightly News, go over to KTVD, but we're going to stay on the air because the snow is really a big deal. It's impacting a lot of people. Excel has just told us that some people are going to be without power overnight. That will mostly affect people in the Foothills area, where they say it's just harder to reach them for the safety of their crews as well. We continue to bring team coverage in the metro area. We want to get back to meteorologist Kathy Sabin for all the latest on this snow and hoping it ends soon.
I know, Kim, we have several more hours to go. This is a slow-moving storm that's kind of meandering, kind of wobbling over the Four Corners area, pumping so much water up into Colorado. We remain under a winter storm warning till 6 a.m. tomorrow for up to 6 inches of additional snow in the city, maybe another foot in the Foothills, where we are measuring the snow in feet. 45 inches in Aspen Springs and Gilpin County. Genesee, over 30, the same in Conifer. Denver, only 9, but so far those numbers continue to ramp up in foothill areas with well over a foot in Lakewood, Aurora, Cherry Hills, Parker, and Highlands Ranch. We'll continue to add to these totals throughout the evening as we get those numbers in. Poor visibility, another thing, and the roads that are wet are going to become icy and snow-packed overnight. Temperatures are holding right around the freezing mark, but after sunset, when that sun goes down behind the clouds and we start to see that colder air settle in and all that water coming in from the south, we will have icy roadways, and that's going to present a whole different scenario for travelers trying to navigate these streets tonight with that heavy snow band coming in again from the northeast. That band is just outside of DIA, pushing back toward the west and southwest. So travel not advised tonight if you can avoid it. Stay home, watch 9 News, sit by the fire, enjoy your evening, because winter weather and travel advisories remain in effect through tomorrow morning for additional accumulation. Snow will fly hard and heavy overnight tonight through early tomorrow morning, with some improvement by 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, and maybe, just maybe, if we're lucky, a little bit of sunshine on a Friday afternoon. But the accumulation amounts, in addition to what you've already seen, impressive. I'll have more on this coming up.
Thanks, Kathy. How a mayor handles snowstorms can really make or break their term. We learned that from Bill McNichols, who bungled a snowstorm, was the first Denver mayor not reelected in 50 years. We talked to Denver's Mayor Mike Johnston earlier this year about how he feels about his first snowstorm as head of the city, and he was feeling pretty optimistic about how things went. He said a lot of it has to do with the team, Dottie, and their commitment to make sure residential streets are plowed so people can get around safely. Plows are working in 12-hour shifts, 3 a.m. to 3 p.m. and then 3 p.m. to 3 a.m. again.
So for some people it's convenience, for other people it's necessity. And so to make sure that you can get out of your house onto your side street and onto a main street means if you have to get to the grocery store, or you got to get to the hospital, or you got to get to a loved one. We think those are all really important, and so we've taken it incredibly seriously.
The plows have been out and about all day in Denver, hitting the main roads and side roads a lot. Here's a look at where the plows are right now. Maybe they're not in your neck of woods yet, but hopefully they are, and looks like they're out there. They're working hard, so that's what matters most. Despite all the snow, a lot of people found a way to escape or enjoy the day. People in Golden, some of them spent the day out and enjoying coffee as well. We want to get to Genesee, where we're looking at what conditions are like with our Lauren Robinson, who's been on the roads on I-70. I-70 finally open, been closed for like 17 hours, Lauren. So how's it moving?
Hey Kim, yeah, we're on I-70. We're now heading westbound. We're heading through the town of Genesee that actually got a good amount of snow. So far, almost 37 inches have been reported in Genesee. And we've been on either side of Genesee on I-70 going westbound and eastbound for the last couple of hours. And Genesee is by far the worst stretch of road as far as road conditions are concerned. I'm going to turn the camera around right now so you can see a lot of the road is snow covered still, very bumpy, very slick. We haven't seen too many cars out for most of the ride, but I'd say maybe about 30 minutes ago, we did see a lot of cars finally heading in the eastbound lanes, which makes me think that's the traffic that was stuck at the tunnels finally making their way toward this part of town. But as you take a look at the roadways, it's still very slushy, very snow covered, and it's really all along Genesee in I-70. As we were west and east of the town, the roads really got better. weather. But here in town, you can see why the snow totals are looking the way they are, and you really get a lot of evidence of it, especially on the roadways. We're driving through it now. Now, the good news is we haven't had too many other cars on the roads, and the other cars that have been moving through have been moving through pretty safely. But one thing to note, or another thing to note on these roadways, as we went through Genesee on both the eastbound and westbound lanes, the snow was still covering some of the lanes. So the far right lane, like what we're in now, would just disappear at different times and then reappear at other times. So you can tell where kind of snow plows were able to get to, and then maybe where some winds probably drifted the snow back onto the roadways. So we're going to continue to monitor the town of Genesee and the road conditions here. As I mentioned a minute ago, reported snow totals in Genesee are almost 37 inches. And as Kathy's been saying all night, we're not done with the snow yet. So we're going to continue to be in town monitoring snow totals and road conditions here in Genesee. So we'll be back through the rest of the evening. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Angeline. Saw those cars off to the side of the road, and I can hear those windshield wipers, that groan with all that ice and snow on it. Okay, thank you. Despite all the snow, people, as we said, in Golden got out, many of them, many neighborhoods that got out, and so did some businesses. They opened up as well. Red Silo Coffee Roasters opened for modified hours today. Angeline McCall spent her day in Golden. And you said you talked to those folks, and they said, yeah, why not be open? You spoke with one of the managers about their decision.
Yeah, that one coffee shop, Red Silo Coffee Roasters, they remained open today with modified hours, as you mentioned, but they weren't the only ones. We actually saw lots of businesses in Golden, and to be honest with you, the streets out there were pretty good coming in from Denver, a little slick on US Highway 6, but other than that, once you actually got into Golden, they actually had pretty good road conditions, and a lot of people wanted to get out and about during the town, especially during the afternoon once it sort of warmed up a little bit. Now, as far as Red Silo goes, managers decided last night to stay open. One manager, her name is Molly, she told me that there were about 75 people that had come in by 1 o'clock this afternoon. And she said that that was more than she had initially expected when they decided to stay open. But they wanted to do this to really serve their community and make sure that if someone needed a place to go, that they could use this as a space and opportunity for that.
Last night, we said we'll see what it looks like in the morning to see if we'll open, to see if we'll start late. So we got up this morning, had a little text meeting with the owner and the other manager.
One thing that we noticed too is that some people were out of power in Golden, so they actually went to these open businesses to have some warmth and some relief from that. Thankfully, a lot of them have power back now. We also saw a good number of students coming out with their laptops, wanting to work from different coffee places, sandwich shops. So people were definitely taking this opportunity of a snow day to still work and be productive, but then do it in a space maybe a little bit more ideal for them. Kim?
Yeah, a little socializing while you do it once in a while. That's not bad. All right, well, we're glad they did well. Thank you, Angeline. It's been tough to see all this. Tons and tons of downed trees and heavy snow sitting on power lines. Sorry to lose those trees. We also don't want to be out of power. Sidewalks were completely clear yesterday, and now they've been blocked off by fallen limbs. The contrast between today and yesterday is stark. From parks packed with people to packed with snow, here's Jeremy Hahola, who takes a look at then and now in city parks.
Denver is going to Denver on nice days with people walking and running at parks, and March is going to March in Colorado. Here's Wash Park yesterday, and then today, yesterday, and then today. A few people still making the trek.
Very sparse. I feel like we have the whole place to ourselves.
It's like we were gifted the park to ourselves for a day.
Yeah.
You're out here on skis. How's it coming?
You know, it's awesome. It's a little bit soft, but it's wonderful.
Do you still get a good workout?
It's okay. It's like less than running. It's more just heart rate goes up.
What brings you to the park today?
Mostly to get this dog's energy out. She's been cooped up all day, so we had to get out here and let her run.
At Cesar Chavez Park on Tennyson in Denver's northwest side, the park is usually bustling with young, growing families. This morning, the snow covered everything. Mild yesterday, snow everywhere today. And then a few miles down the road on 38th at La Raza Park, a blanket of snow covers everything like everywhere else. This is the type of snow that can really weigh down on trees, but it's perfect for building good old-fashioned snowmen. March is going to March in Colorado.
Hello.
All righty, that was Nellie the dog I saw at Wash Park today, and I actually saw city crews out plowing the pathways around the park. So if you're that type of person that wants to get a workout in, go do it. They're clear for now, at least for now. Back to you guys.
Feel free. Go for it.
Go do it. Go do it. The
Nellie
marathon is in like next month, so
Yeah.
a couple months. Yeah.
Nellie nearly knocked you over. Nellie was like,
Yeah,
hello.
she did. She came right out of the blue, but the dogs really love this weather.
Oh, yeah, they do.
They love
It's
it.
good times for them.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for all your good work. Thanks, Jeremy.
Yeah.
So there was some snow falling in Green Valley Ranch today. Not a ton, but they got some snow up there, thanks to our viewer Tyler. Northeast Denver in general and the airport did not see the brunt of the storm, but they caught up at some point. Chris Bianchi is here to explain why, because first thing we always think about is the airport and the impact of a storm like this.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, Fort Collins, Greeley, we can kind of lump you in as well. I know a lot of questions from our friends up that way about why you got left out of this snowstorm. So let's get into some of the nerdy things here, right? Everybody likes to get a little nerdy. So I'm going to explain why. Let's have some fun with this here, folks. All right. And I promise not to make this too nerdy. So first of all, we all know that there's a pretty big gap at this point between the airport and downtown. So you might notice that little red there, airport about 1 to 3 inches. As of last check, DIA only at 1.1 inches worth of snowfall officially for us. And you compare that to downtown, about 25 miles away, 9 inches for us. So that's a slight gap. So what led to this? Something called a barrier jet. What is that and why does that matter? Well, it matters a lot, at least if you were trying to fly in or out of Denver International Airport today, and you probably unexpectedly went, wait, my flight, it works, right? Well, here's what happened. So we had a northeast wind. This is what's leading to our snow here. We got a wind out of the northeast, upslope flow, right? When it goes against the mountains, it's forced to go parallel. That wind is forced to go parallel to the mountains, and it creates a little narrow ribbon of just stronger winds, something we call a barrier jet. And it's essentially kind of an invisible wall, preventing some of that kind of deeper moisture from making its way into areas not affected by it. So point being that moisture was kind of souped up there in the Denver area, and that meant that this barrier jet essentially meant that a lot of those areas east of the city were shut out from the storm.
Okay, but they got plenty of rain.
Great point. So we picked up plenty of rain there, no doubt about that. We picked up a little over an inch of rain at the airport, but it wasn't falling heavily enough last night to pull down some of that colder air like we were able to do in downtown and throughout most of the rest of the metro area. So if that makes sense, it just didn't precipitate quite as much at the airport because of that barrier jet, and that meant that we weren't able to get quite as much in the way of that, again, pull down just enough cold air to flip that over from rain to snow in time.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's probably a good thing. They don't like to be on the national news about everybody piled up, so they got some flights out, and that's good.
That's what I think, too. I'm with you.
All right, thank you for that explainer. Thanks, Chris. And Kathy, everybody's saying, okay, but now we need to clear out, and we need to melt, and we need to move forward, the rest of us.
The moisture is so welcome for the state, but everybody wants to turn the faucet off now and head into a beautiful Friday and weekend. And that's not going to happen for a few hours with the center of circulation over the Four Corners area north of the Phoenix area, just pumping a bunch of water up into Colorado. Winter storm warning until 6 a.m. Friday. Another 3 to 6 inches of snow for Denver on top of what you've already seen, and maybe another foot of snow for the foothills, which have seen, well, 45 inches at Gilpin County, 36 in Conifer, Evergreen, a new report, 27 inches there. Pine Cliff at 33 inches of snow. A report from Highlands Ranch, 2 feet there, 18 in Lone Tree, 14 in Aurora, and again, 1.1 at DIA with 9 inches in downtown Denver. And as we look around the area, you can't see far, you can't see much. Snow has returned, not just to Denver, but to the I-70 corridor after a brief lull in the action. Temperatures, which are in the low 30s now, are dropping into the 20s overnight. So what is on the roadways is wet and slushy is going to turn to all ice as that area of low pressure, that upper level low, kind of wobbles over the Four Corners area. It doesn't move a whole lot, becomes cut off from the main flow. The moisture will continue to come in the form of snow from Fort Collins and Denver down to Colorado Springs. Those bands will continue to come in counterclockwise around that center of circulation. And even though you think the storm may be done, if the snow is getting a little lighter in your area, there is more to come overnight tonight. We're going to be dealing with this until about 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. Hence the winter storm warning, which has been extended through, again, that morning time period for these additional accumulation amounts and major travel impacts. So heavy snow overnight, heavy wet snow. It's going to pick up, it's going to let up, and then by about 6 o'clock in the morning, we may be actually done with it, leading us to a partly sunny Friday afternoon, and then into a beautiful weekend we go. But additional accumulation on top of what you've already seen, 3 to 6 inches possible in Denver, with an additional 10 to 12, maybe even 24 inches above 6,500 feet. So a very impactful storm for the foothills. Snow throughout the evening with temperatures not moving a whole lot. We will have morning snow showers. We'll get a little bit of sun in the afternoon, not enough to melt, but enough to get you out shoveling and digging out. Beautiful weekend with sunshine and 40s, and then look at the warming trend for next week. Sunshine 50s and 60s through next Thursday.
Looking forward to that. Thank you, Kathy. A beautiful shot of our snow flying down during the Tech Center area. Thanks to viewer JR for sending in this video. We know so many of you sent in some beautiful pictures. You've been appreciating the weather. Hasn't been great for everyone. Folks stuck on I-70, they've all got stories to tell, so indulge them as they tell you their story, because imagine what it was being like to be stuck in a car for hours and hours on end. Most folks had a pretty good attitude, including those ladies on the bus coming home from their ski day. So we wish everybody got home and safe and you're warm tonight. We know we're not through it yet. The storm's not over yet. We got some power outages, but we're tough, Colorado. This is what happens in March. Thanks for joining us. Next with Kyle Clark is coming up in just a bit.
This storm is what we expected. Thank you, meteorologist. That's the good news and the bad news. It is an interstate stopping, tree snapping, foot after foot in the foothills March super soaker of a snowstorm. And it's not over yet. Not for hours, at least. As darkness falls, roads will take an icier turn, and the snow still falling will find it easier to pile up. Pile on top of everything that's already turned evergreen white and silverthorn into a parking lot. Tonight on Next, we're in the Jeffco foothills, along the newly reopened I-70, in neighborhoods hoping for power before nighttime, and out at an unusually operational airport, given the snow we've seen. We're digging into why Colorado allows unprepared truckers to shut down our interstates for hours, and looking ahead to whether a snowstorm becomes a slush show, becomes a flood risk. And asking once more, who is taking all of the bananas? All that on a special hour-long edition of Next. All right, let's get cozy. Let's recharge a bit together as this area's biggest snowstorm in years moves into its second night of action. The snow totals and Coloradans' great attitudes about what March can throw at us have both been pretty impressive. The National Weather Service says nearly a foot fell in southwest Boulder. That is medium dog height at Lawrence Place. On to the next. More than 30 inches in the foothills of Jefferson County, about toddler height in Indian Hills, according to Michael. The folks in Evergreen, they are up to their butts in snow, and that is not a rude thing to say. That is an actual physical measurement of what they have seen. Clear Creek County is the only county under a state of emergency right now, but that's where people got stuck on I-70 overnight. First responders there have been at this for more than 24 hours, and folks are exhausted. So the state of emergency is partially a plea for people to stay home and also a way to open up state resources and funding. So it's still coming down right now in Denver, up to a foot in some parts of the pretty city, with more to come tonight, Kathy.
beautiful out here? It is so beautiful out here. Yeah, our little snow stake out here, our little Snowy the Snowman showing 8 to 9 inches of snow, and that storm is still packing quite a punch. Center of circulation is off to the south and west of us, so a lot of water coming into the state tonight. We remain under a winter storm warning through 6 a.m. on Friday. An additional 3 to 6 inches of snow possible on top of what you've already seen. But the big headline, the snow will end early tomorrow morning. We might actually get some sunshine on a Friday afternoon. But look at these totals. 45 inches in Aspen Springs, 31 in Genesee, 27 inches in Evergreen. And how about the metro area totals? Denver at 9 inches. The Highlands Ranch area closing in on 2 feet. Littleton with over a foot, and Golden with 16 inches of snow. And you really can't see anything out there. Travel, as you know, is not advised. We've had road closures all afternoon. And yay, kids, another snow day tomorrow. Temperatures in the low 30s now, but those numbers will drop into the 20s. So all of this water coming in is going to freeze tonight. And I-25, which was slushy and wet, will become like a skating rink out there tonight. And we have additional accumulation on top of the ice, so it is going to be really hazardous to travel between now and about 6 a.m. Avoid it if you can. Additional accumulation expected, so the winter storm warning goes out through tomorrow morning, and the foothills could pick up another foot of snow on top of the 2 to 3 feet already reported. So the heavy snow continues. The bands come in from the east right up against the foothills, but look, 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, some drier air works in, and by the afternoon, maybe, just maybe, a little bit of sunshine. Oh, but the accumulation, yep, we're adding to the totals that you already have. Keep the weather pictures and storm reports coming. I'll have more on the timing of the next round of snow coming up.
All right, thank you, Kathy. Listen, it's not a competition, except it's a competition, right? And if you're at 6,000 feet or above in the foothills, you won this storm. Our mustachioed mountain meteorologist Corey Reppenhagen planted his yardstick up in Aspen Park, thinking that was going to be the place to be. And Corey, there have been some pretty bonkers totals reported from that area, but you're sure that they've got at least 2 feet.
At least 2 feet. You know, we measured 2 feet right here just recently, and the 2-foot totals are very widespread. That's one of the very impressive things about this. And we have a lot of totals now getting up to the 36 and 45 inch range. So it will be a 2 to 4 inch 2 to 4 foot snowstorm up here in the foothills. And here's your visual. I mean, I'm pretty impressed with what's gone on out here today. We watched this snow. You can see these vehicles back here, just piles and piles of snow everywhere you look. So the visuals are there. As soon as the sun came up, it was so impressive to see this area just completely covered in snow. And from the, what I'm basically calling it the Pi 2.0 storm right now, because if you remember, exactly 3 years ago on Pi Day 2021, we got another big storm that this one is actually going to end up eclipsing that in a lot of ways. And so that was Pi Day storm. This, I think, is Pi Day 2.0. And I know that, you know, our friends at Denver International Airport, you might have seen the explainer from Chris Bianchi talking about the barrier jet. Awesome explainer about the science behind why DIA got robbed. I'm hanging out here with I guess I'll call this Brownsifer, because my theory about why DIA got robbed in part of that area is a little bit less scientific, and it has to do with aliens and curses at DIA. And I think Blucifer might be at the bottom of it.
Yeah.
Our guy out here at the Arrowhead Manor, this guy came through for us. I'm so impressed with this storm. We had such a great time out here, and like we just said, there's still more on the way.
2 to 4 feet of snow for the man in the mountains with a meteorology degree and the mustache, and for Blucifer's less evil-looking cousin. Corey, thank you for your work all last night and through the day today. I-70 sat closed from the metro area to Silverthorne for most of the day as people got stuck overnight, then had to be evacuated. Lauren Robinson headed up the hill when I-70 reopened around 4 o'clock today into the unknown. And you're now in Genesee. What have you seen?
Yes, that's right. I'm here in Genesee. It does look like Into the Unknown from Frozen. And Corey Redhagen was talking about the Pi Day storm a couple years ago. Let's go ahead and call this Pi Day squared, right? He said Pi Day 2.0. That's good as well. Now, I'm here in Genesee, which is one of the areas that's had the highest snow totals reported so far. Almost 37 inches of snow have been reported in Genesee. That's over 3 feet of snow here. And as you can see, it's still falling pretty heavily. Another thing we're going to watch out for all around the state with the heavy snow is these trees. There's a lot of areas have been seeing those downed branches. You can see these branches behind me are being weighed pretty significantly by all of this snowfall, and it's just going to continue to pile up. So we want to make sure you're moving your car out from under any downed trees or trees that are sagging under snow. You also want to make sure that you're just aware of any power lines, any things like that that could go wrong in your neighborhood or in front of your house. Now, I say in front of your house because this is a day we've been saying stay home if you can, maybe build a few snowmen. That's really about it. Now, I am again here in Genesee where the snow is continuing to fall. I've mentioned we've had almost 37 inches reported so far. That's going to continue to pile up as we go through the rest of the evening. This is one of the heaviest hit areas of the foothills, so we'll be here monitoring the conditions for you through the rest of the night. Kyle?
All right, Lauren Robinson, would love to chat, but you got a longer delay than DIA, so I'm just going to thank you, and we'll catch up later.
Our next question comes from Stephen, curious about what happens when it starts to warm up and all that snow at higher elevations begins to melt. Should we be prepared for creeks and rivers to flood in the coming days and weeks?
Going to bring in meteorologist Chris Bianchi for this one. So we've been talking all day about the amount of moisture in this storm. So it's a natural question we've gotten from Stephen and some other next viewers about, is that moisture an eventual flood risk for us?
So really good news on that. Honestly, no is the quick answer. And the reason being is that this is kind of snowpack. It'll melt off slowly. If this were to be maybe double the amount of liquid and this were to melt off kind of snap, then we're talking about flood issues. This is not going to be anywhere close to flood issues. Another thing to keep in mind, the peak for Colorado snowpack is not for another 3 weeks. So this is just adding to the snowpack. And really, overall, Kyle, this is excellent news for us because snowpack is only around average, our season-to-date average. So we're helping build that. And I would also say in the Front Range mountains in particular, we've been a little kind of lagging in terms of that snowpack. So honestly, this is really good news.
That's fantastic. All right, we have more questions coming. We're going to touch base with you in just a bit. Meteorologist Chris Bianchi, thank you very much. So we know that every power outage is a personal power outage for the people experiencing it, the ones in the dark, but this storm really has truly created personal power outages. You got hundreds of little ones affecting one home here, 3 homes there. All total, though, it's more than 25,000 people without power, according to Xcel. The hundreds of Xcel workers and contractors who have been out in the elements have already restored power to more than 40,000 customers today. Xcel is warning folks that the online outage map that we always refer to it's been over-reporting the number of small outages on the Front Range today. Our Evan Krugel is along after talking with the folks at Xcel, and Evan, clearly the lights aren't on for everybody, and Xcel's about to figure out whether they want to call it a night for safety reasons, meaning folks without power need to find someplace warm.
Yeah, Kyle, this is the scene in tens of thousands of homes here on the west side of town tonight where candles and flashlights are all we have as we try to figure out if the food in our fridge is still safe to eat. Xcel says those outages here started at about 2 o'clock this morning. As you mentioned, still tens of thousands of people without power, and Xcel soon will be making a call on whether to keep those extra crews out. So here's the issue. This is what we've been seeing across this area this afternoon. You can see that heavy snow weighing down power lines, even breaking branches that are landing on power lines. As of last check, Xcel says about 39,000 homes are still without power. The majority, as you mentioned, to the west of Denver in cities like Wheat Ridge, Littleton, as well as Boulder County, and of course up in the foothills. In Jefferson County, as I mentioned, those outages started at 2 o'clock. There is no estimated time for power to be restored. And a lot of folks here say they were not expecting such a lengthy outage to happen so early and say it's certainly an inconvenience.
We'll just be patient and the Xcel do their job and get us back going. Usually with the freezer, it'll stay pretty, the ice in there, it'll stay pretty cold for a while. And so I think we'll be okay as long as it doesn't go into tomorrow.
And that is a big concern for folks here tonight. XL says they've got over 300 crews out working to restore power right now. But here's the catch. When the sun sets in about an hour, they are going to make a decision on whether to pull back those crews due to safety concerns. That will all depend on what the weather looks like outside here in about an hour. I can tell you a lot of people here in Jefferson County already heading to friends' homes, to relatives' homes tonight. Certainly unsure if that power will come back on tomorrow morning. And of course, then the fun begins. We get to go in here and start throwing everything out. Kyle, I think that half bottle of rosé, that'll still be good at least, right?
Oh, no, that'll keep for sure. That will keep. Whatever you do, do not throw out that rosé. Evan Krugel telling us a campfire style story that nobody wanted to hear. The hope was that everybody would have their power back tonight, but we appreciate that update. So we can be mad about the snow, but the State Patrol says it was truck drivers being irresponsible that shut down I-70. A look at why Colorado cannot seem to stop this persistent problem. Next. When I-70 is closed, Colorado suffers, both in terms of human frustration, but also financial impact. CDOT has said that for every hour that commerce can't flow on I-70, every hour that people can't drive to the high country to spend their money, that costs our state's economy $2 million. So the closure of I-70 from yesterday into today, about 17 to 23 hours, depending on how you measure it, that cost Colorado $34 to $46 million. So that's money that's flowing along with traffic now as I-70 is back open to passenger traffic only tonight. Commercial vehicles like the ones that caused last night's shutdown have been ordered to stay off the interstate until tomorrow at noon. Our Chris Vanderveen's been looking into last night's mess on I-70 in Clear Creek and Jefferson counties. And Chris, I thought that CDOT and CSP were unusually clear today about blaming truck drivers for that. And not all truck drivers, but the ones who choose not to follow the law.
Kyle, you heard that really early on. A few dozen semis, at least 30 according to CDOT, which really didn't have that system with them. Another story you've probably heard before in all this, State Patrol says almost every jam that happened overnight and this morning was due to those semis. This is not to say all semis, as you say. Clearly, most of them follow the rules, but clearly this was a problem once again. It all led to some pretty apocalyptic views from the CDOT cameras this morning. Big hills, slow-moving traffic, and icy snow-packed roads can absolutely lead to some big problems for the big rigs. This afternoon, jumped on a Zoom call with State Senator Dylan Roberts, who was also tired of this problem. He told me out-of-state drivers not used to Colorado's wild weather swings, seem to be at fault once again.
It seems to be that no matter how we strengthen the law at the legislature, these truckers who come from out of state are not abiding by state law. They're not carrying chains. They're not putting chains on during inclement weather. And they're causing all these problems that we've been trying to prevent for years.
So there's some legislation swimming about the Capitol once again to try to crack this nut, sponsored by Senator Roberts. It would expand the areas where truckers have to have chains. Also seeks to figure out ways to educate those out-of-state drivers, which is really key because, as Dylan Roberts said, it seems to be a lot of people from out of state coming into the state of Colorado just simply not aware of those rules. That bill's going to hit the Senate floor as soon as next week.
And Chris, of course, the idea with any law is to get people to do what society wants them to do when nobody is watching. The other way to do it is to physically check every vehicle going onto the highway, like chain checkpoints. But that would be enormously intensive for manpower on days when CSP and CDOT are stretched thin anyway.
You can't do it on days where there's snow, but certainly CDOT has been doing that. State Patrol's been doing that. They say they've issued 800 citations just at the check-in points at the state lines since September. So they've been doing it. But really, there's a lot of truckers that go on the roads, and certainly a lot of truckers have been getting through without those chains.
Really is the question of the day. Chris Vanderveen, appreciate you looking into it.
You bet.
All right, here's our next question for anybody thinking of heading to the mountains to grab some fresh powder, or for maybe truckers mapping out their next route. The Ferris family wrote in asking what the penalties are for folks who don't follow CDOT's traction and chain laws.
So it varies. If truckers are simply not carrying chains when they're supposed to have them in the truck, that's $50. If truckers don't chain up when they're supposed to be chained up in bad weather, that's $600. If truckers then block the road, up to $1,000 plus fees. Now, the penalties are lower for passenger vehicles, but all of us were added to that state traction law in 2019. If there is a vehicle that goes up there unprepared when passenger traction laws are in effect and blocks the road, we could be fined up to about $650. The cancellation board out at DIA sure looked scary, but once you got there, pretty peaceful today, and barely any snow fell at the airport. That doesn't mean, however, that people could get to their final destinations. The airport braced for issues with this storm, and they really weren't on the airport's property. I mean, hardly any snow there, although plenty of people had trouble getting to the airport. DIA is reporting nearly 300 delays today, more than 800 preemptive cancellations throughout the day. Our Jaleesa Arizera did that whole planes, trains, and automobiles thing today. You got a little bit of everything to get a sampler of what people are facing as they try to get out of town.
Kyle, we sure did, and we made it to the airport. That's a good sign, right? As you can see, like you just mentioned, tarmacs are looking pretty clear right now, and we're seeing planes take off. So that's a good sign, right? But the whole thing about traveling and headed out to the airport, I mean, it doesn't start at the airport. It starts getting to the airport. So we decided to test that out today.
Like a shovel to a pile of snow. A Denver travel day tends to come with the mile-high headache. That's usually the case, right?
No, not really. I haven't had any problems with the trains. Today's actually been an extremely easy day, so it's quite nice.
The A line on a wintry Thursday morning was an A-. It got to DIA just 5 minutes behind schedule. A drive from Union Station to the airport took about 30 minutes. And when anyone gets here, all they really want to know is,
where's all the snow?
I know! Can you believe it? These people are wusses.
The snow was light this morning, but the travel stories weren't.
I'm a happy camper.
Frustration. A lot of frustration. It looks like we're still on the schedule to board on time.
And I have no clue when I'm gonna get to my final destination.
The flight was wonderful.
So do you think I'm gonna be stuck out here more?
A question hard to answer when the tarmac looks clear.
There's nothing on the ground.
But the forecast doesn't.
Yeah, I'm trying to leave.
Now we are at the A terminal and things have been moving slowly, but moving. So that's always a good sign here. We're seeing a lot of people come in and out. Flights are arriving, people are leaving. We love to see it. It's good for the people who have been stuck here since midnight. There's a few people out here who were supposed to fly out at 12:15 this morning. Their flight has been delayed till 9:30 tonight, Kyle. So light your prayer candles for them if they get out of the DIA.
Hey, if people are lighting candles, are we still lighting one for you? Are you trying to fly out at midnight still?
I'm trying to fly out at midnight. My flight gets out at 12:15 a.m. today. I am hoping to be on a beach tomorrow, so here's to hoping.
No, you have all these next viewers all across the state manifesting this for you. You have worked so hard today. We are going to make this happen for Jaleesa. Thank you so much. Thank you. So snow bust at the airport is great for travelers, but it's likely to skew, Chris Bianchi, how we remember this storm, because of course Denver's weather totals are recorded out there halfway to Kansas at the airport. So people are going to call up this day in the Google machine and they're going to see 1 inch of snow.
Exactly. That's what is going to be wild about this storm. The official climate record, that's a story for a different day, by the way, is held officially at Denver International Airport. In fact, we've documented that several times about why it's at the airport. It's basically a lot of red tape from the Weather Service. But the important part of it is that there was a huge gap in snowfall totals between the airport and downtown. Look at this. Officially at the airport, as of noon, 1.1 inches worth of snowfall. Downtown, give or take about 10 inches for us, and we're going to add a couple more before all is said and done. So what happened? You've never heard, many of you have probably not heard of a barrier jet, but here is the explanation. Basically, this barrier jet, it is a narrow ribbon of really strong winds that kind of set up right over Pena Boulevard. I'm not kidding about this, by the way. So this is what led to all the snow, right? Upslope flow, you've heard about that before, most likely. Moist northeast wind, backs against the mountains, you get snow, right? But then what happens when you get that wind backing against the mountains, it has to go somewhere. That wind can't go up, can't really go down all that much, so it has to go parallel to the mountains. And that kind of sets up, kind of think of a little chute sort of thing. It sets up a little kind of funnel of strong winds, and that's set up literally over Pena Boulevard. So if you were at Pena Boulevard this morning, you were driving up to the airport, you would have noticed probably about 3-4 inches of snow at the beginning of Pena, at Pena and kind of Pena and I-70. At the airport, you would have noticed zero. Big old goose egg, all thanks to that barrier jet.
That's wild. And now we know exactly what happened. Chris Bianchi, thank you. All right, so let me ask you, when did you know that this storm was going to be real? I knew when I saw your supermarket pictures.
It's bananas. It's literally bananas. The best measure of a big snowstorm striking. Coloradans peel off bunches when you'd think people would grab bread and milk. From the city out to the Southlands, Highlands Ranch to Centennial, even in Evergreen and even the fancy organic ones. But not the plantains, at least not in Edgewater. The banana boxes themselves were a hot item in Arvada. And what's going on here in Castle Rock? Do y'all really peel the stickers off the organic so that you can save 20 cents at the register? That's shady. Not as shady as Joey saying, make me an offer, but still shady. In a land where bananas are in demand. Everywhere, it seems, except Colorado Springs. They're fully stocked in the springs. Don't y'all rush down there at once.
I don't know what it is about the Springs. Colorado zigs, Springs zags. You know Steve Steger, one of the all-time great guys who has spent his day serving others in the suburbs. We'll check in with Steve on your sidewalk next. Ah, man, poor I-70 just cannot stay open. We have a new closure to tell you about. I-70 eastbound is closed at Genesee Park, which means that some of the people who are stuck in Silverthorne are now stuck on the interstate again, trying to come back down to Denver. That includes our crew that had to stay in Silverthorne last night. When the highway closed down, they rode out the closure through this afternoon. They got partway home, and now they're waiting again. I have not heard a single complaint about the city of Denver's snow response, which is impressive because, let's face it, we live in complainy times. The city rolled out everything they have, 54 big plows on the main streets, side streets, getting hit by those baby plows, the pickup trucks with the equipment on them. But there's somebody else who's looking out for the burbs. Steve on your sidewalk. A one-man cleanup crew in Centennial today. And this is not for show. This is not something he's just doing for next. Steve has been out there all day long doing whatever people needed done, cleaning up trees and cars and sidewalks and driveways. You took a 15-minute break to sled with some kids and you're back at it. Dude, that's heavy snow. You must be physically exhausted.
I am running out of juice, let's put it that way. But it was a two-man cleanup crew because Tom Cole, I got him into some situations, and Tommy and I both had to do a lot of shoveling today, and kudos to Tom. Thank you for everything you've done. We're back here at the Hacienda, the Casa del Steger, and this is what I found. So you've seen me banging all these trees around town, trying to get as much snow as you can off of the limbs. This is the reason why you want to do that, because this sucker fell this morning right as I was leaving and hit, it didn't hit the house. It hit the bushes in front of the house. That's how close it was. So I'm going to have some sawing to do a little bit later on. But, it's deep snow. This is a lot of what I shoveled off the driveway earlier, but look at what that's done, because look at how much snow is still left on the driveway. But just if you get a chance, take the stick, take the hockey stick, a broom, whatever you got. Somebody told me they've got that like 100-foot pole that you can extend out and try to work with that. I think I have one in the garage. I don't know where it is, so I've been working with a stick all day. But I'll tell you what, you are right. This has been exhausting. So let's just call it quits, huh? I got to tell you, many wonderful neighbors provided some beverages. I feel like it's just time. Head on inside.
Yes.
Say hi to Elliot.
Yes.
Say hi to Elliot, everybody. Elliot's good. Sit down. Oh, take the gloves off. Peel the banana.
Get some potassium, baby. Get some potassium.
You gotta have a banana. You gotta have a little banana. Crack it open. And then this is the part where you guys cut away. Right?
Yeah, we can't show the next part. We're not allowed to do that. But you have earned the next part.
You know what? Hold on.
More than just about anybody. You got another one for Tom? You better get Tommy a beer, too.
No, I was going to say, I'm heading out. I'm making sure that garage door is closed so no kitties escape. But here we are.
Steve,
the never-ending chores.
You have had a great day, and for folks who have followed your journeys around the suburbs today, helping out people, this is going to sound corny to say, but both of us are corny people. Days like this are nice for the fact that you can be of service to other people.
Yeah, so many people have said thank you, and I feel like on these days we so often get so caught up in the I'm going to go stand on the side of the road and tell you about all the things that you aren't supposed to see. And I kind of was like, at this point, why don't we just go and shovel some people's driveways? People who need help. I mean, it's a foot of snow. Why not? Let's just pitch in. And seeing so many other people throughout our travels who were doing exactly the same thing, going door to door, it was so nice.
Good work today. You enjoy that beer. Thank you, Steve.
Meanwhile,
for those of us still on the clock, Kathy Sabin and I, sober as gophers, are looking at the second round of snow, which we are in the midst of now, Kathy.
We are. And Kyle, tell Steve that a lot of people are emailing me that they want his help with their Wi-Fi. So if you could pass that message along, my inbox is full for Steve. We do have additional snow showers moving into the metro area tonight. So if you have a lull in the action, we're not done yet. We are going to see the snow continue overnight, so that winter storm warning remains in effect through 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. An additional 3 to 6 inches of snow possible right here in Denver, even though the snow ends early Friday. It's going to take a while to dig out, and you really can't even see anywhere around Denver right now. That cloud ceiling is very low. Sloppy, wet snow that will be freezing tonight when temperatures drop into the 20s, and numerous road closures, including areas of I-70. So do call ahead, plan ahead if you have to be out. And you've all been so creative about measuring the snow. This is up in Gilpin County, where the snow is over 40 inches deep. That's right, 45 inches deep in Aspen Springs and Gilpin County. Conifer, 36-inch snowfall there, 31 in Genesee, Pine Cliff, 33, Evergreen coming in 27 inches. And you know what? Sometimes it's fun to take the pets out when you're trying to measure the snow and figure out what's happening. Highlands Ranch, I had a report say that we had 2 feet of snow out there, and I said, can you measure it and show me? And there you go, Kate Drago with the help of a cute little doggy showing me how deep the snow is in Highlands Ranch. Parker with 14 inches, 17 in Castle Rock. Golden at 16, 13 in Littleton. DIA only an inch. We'll get into that a little bit later. But the snow amounts, we're going to continue to add to those numbers, and we'll continue to show you those numbers throughout the evening. 38 was our high temperature today. DIA coming in cloudy with snow showers and 33 degrees. This system is spinning over the Four Corners area, just pumping a lot of water into Colorado. Heavy snow expected off and on through the wee hours of the morning. Yes, additional accumulation is likely on top of a layer of ice. So this winter storm warning in red is where we expect additional accumulation, up to 6 additional inches in Denver, up to another foot in the foothill areas. This system isn't going to go anywhere anytime quick, and so even though we're going to get a break from the snow over northern Colorado. The snow continues down to the south, and we'll see additional snowfall in those southern mountains. Now, it's going to be great for skiing and riding. Oh my goodness, it's going to be terrific with another 4 to 8 inches possible over the southern half of the state in the next 12 hours. For Denver, the snow continues until about 5 a.m. Drier air working in from the north. If we're lucky, a little bit of sunshine tomorrow afternoon, but not before we see additional light accumulation in that 3 to 6 inch range here and over a foot possible in the foothills. It's going to be cold tonight at 25 for Denver. All that sloppy slush is going to freeze. Temperatures tomorrow in the 40s, and we're hoping for a little bit of melting there. But remember, winter storm warning continues for heavy snow overnight. Temperatures aren't going to move a whole lot until tomorrow. I think if we can get to 40, we'll get some melting in the afternoon, maybe. And then you've got a beautiful weekend to look forward to with Saturday and Sunday sunshine and highs in the upper 40s.
Thank you, Kathy. When this hour-long edition of Next returns, our group project is a community to help Colorado's all-volunteer search and rescue teams who are out in all kinds of weather. This is going to be an especially sloppy St. Patrick's Day weekend. Slushy stuff after this storm. But I mean, let's set aside the snow totals because it's the water in the storm that is the potential record breaker here. I want to talk to meteorologist Chris Bianchi again on this. Chris, one of the wettest starts of the year on record, at least in Denver.
No doubt about that. And by the way, I think we have weather 9 behind me. I think we need weather 8 for this. And this is going to kind of get into a bit more about the water that specifically fell within the storm. That's, Kyle, the truly standout feature within this. And so for us at Centennial Airport, we picked up about 2 3/4 inches worth of precipitation from the storm. That might not seem like a whole lot here, folks. Folks, that is more liquid than what we averaged in the months of May and June combined in Centennial. So this is just a stunning amount of water for us. Even at Buckley Space Force Base, look at that, 1.44 inches worth of water. DIA, inch and a quarter. Erie, over an inch. And that is not common for us to get those kinds of totals out of a system like this. This is very, very unusual for us to be getting that kind of rainfall in this short of a time span. And that's going to lead to some of those big issues in terms of, again, some of that melting. That's going to lead to some of that kind of sloppy, big puddles and kind of that gloppy nature to that snow. But I think overall, what we're going to take away from this much water, this is really, really good news for us as we head through the next couple of weeks. And by the way, at the Centennial Airport, a little bit more context for this. Our wettest storm in March is on record for us. Now, records only go back to 1998 there, but that's still pretty impressive for us.
Chris Bianchi, thank you very much. So as the foothills and parts of the Front Range deal with the largest snowstorm we've seen in years, the volunteer search and rescue teams that work in those counties are all prepared to get called out if people end up stuck in hard to reach places. That's the work that they sign up to do on a volunteer basis every week of the year, and they often have to spend their own money and gear for training. In the past 24 hours, your latest Word of Thanks microgiving campaign has raised $38,000 and counting to pay for search and rescue equipment and training. Like in Lake County, outside Leadville, that team needs a new snowmobile for their work. In Huerfano County, down south, their volunteers provide most of their own gear, and they told me that they need safer helmets for climbing rescues. Larimer County's team could use help with medical training for its folks. Park County Search and Rescue is trying to buy a new off-road vehicle for rescues, and they're awful close to getting the amount that they need. So a lot of these needs with these county teams, they're all nonprofit, are like a few $1,000s in this county, a few $1,000s in that county. We didn't want to just dump all of your generosity on one county. So what's going to happen is their umbrella group, the Colorado Search and Rescue Association, a nonprofit, is going to take the dollars we raise and do microgrants for training and equipment to the various county teams based on their needs. Scan the QR code on your screen or text the word THANKS to 303-871-1491 to get that link to join me in donating. We're back here with one of the most joyful ways to spend what could have been kind of a frustrating day. Next. Not everyone is a fan of the snow. I hear you on that. If that's you, I hope that you've got a kid or a dog in your life, because they will always bring out the joy in a day like today. Our Kelly Rinke got the best assignment in the business, which was just go out and find joy somewhere, and she found it running on all fours in Denver.
Yeah, Kyle, pull my leg, go to a dog park on a snow day for a work assignment, I'll take it. Hey, one of the most delightful things to watch is truly a dog running in almost a foot of snow. So why not dedicate a minute of our newscast to this wonderful video? Hey, and
come out here, he'll just go back and forth until he exhausts himself. This is Louie, and his birthday is this weekend. He'll be 3.
He's part husky, so he loves the snow.
We just moved to Denver 6 months ago, and so like she didn't see snow until we moved here, and she is obsessed.
That's Beyonce. She's the queen.
So when we get big snows like this, I measure it and how many corgis deep is it.
I have 2, yeah. So Rue and Moose. She loves the ball too.
His name is Merrill. It's the snow. It's his favorite time. I can't get him to come in.
so I am a dog mom of a mini golden doodle, and pro tip here, Kyle, have you ever seen those like snowballs that like really pile up on the legs of a dog?
Yeah, like they dot all over dogs with certain kind of hair.
It's a mess. If you use a kitchen whisk and just rub it up and down the leg, it is the best thing to get those snowballs off.
Kelly Rinke, changing lives on television today. It's good stuff. Thank you for that 1 minute of Zen. Appreciate it, Kelly. So, you know, our Corey Reppenhagen has been reporting from feet-deep snow since early this morning. But I can think of one thing he hasn't done yet. It's a tradition around here, and it's next. We have asked a lot of our teams out in the snow today. They've spent hours battling traffic delays, wading through feet of snow at times, with the goal of showing you the storm, right? And hopefully keeping people from going out on their own to satisfy their curiosity and creating a safety risk. But I have one more big favor to ask of one man, and it's Corey Reppenhagen. Sir, I know that you have worked, what, like 24 of the last 36 hours, and you're also at the snowiest spot in Colorado. But you are contractually obligated to give Next viewers their weather haiku for the day. So if your brain is not fried, do you have something for us?
I think I got something in mind that you might like. Yeah, I got something.
All right. This is Corey Reppenhagen on very little sleep and way too much work. But roll it, folks. Let's go.
Corey Reppenhagen is on the Weather Beat.
Pi Day, the sequel. 3-foot bomb for the Foothills. March comes through again.
Does not miss. The man does not miss. That could be your finest work today, and there's been a bunch. Thank you, my friend. Hey, we'll have an update on that I-70 closure. It's an eastbound closure now, and we'll end this extended hour-long next the way that we always do. There's a ton of your feedback. Man, I-70 can't catch a break. So we've got a newer closure here within the last 30 minutes. This is I-70 eastbound at Genesee Park, meaning people coming from Silverthorne down to the metro area are stuck again. There's been a crash there eastbound. And our crew that was in the area trying to get home spotted what's going on. You've got the first responders out there trying to clear things out of the way. The hope was to get I-70 open at least to passenger vehicles with no commercial traffic allowed until noon tomorrow. Here's the deal. After 15 straight hours of weather coverage here on air, we're going to take a quick little breather. The storm, of course, is not done yet, so neither are we. I will see you back here tonight at 9 and 10 for more coverage. We'll have extended coverage again tomorrow morning, which means that the Today Show will be airing tomorrow on Channel 20, as it did today. Kathy Sabin's in for the duration as well. Kathy, how do you see this playing out over the next couple of hours?
Kyle, we've got another 9 or 10 hours to go before this weather event is officially over, or at least winding down. We remain under a winter storm warning through 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. And the roads, which the plows have done such a great job on, which have been so wet and slushy, are going to freeze tonight with additional accumulation likely on top top of the 9 to 10 inches we've already seen in Denver and the 3 to 4 feet in the foothills. So that winter storm warning remains in effect. Another 3 to 6 inches likely here in the city, but the foothills could pick up another foot before we start to see that drier air working in from north to south tomorrow. And on Friday, I think it's possible we'll actually get a little bit of sunshine in the afternoon, but not a lot of melting. These are additional forecast accumulations on top of the amounts that you've already seen and that you've already shoveled. Temperatures are not moving a whole lot. It's not a super cold storm. And I think if we get to 40 and see the sunshine, it's going to feel amazing. Time to dig out over the weekend with sunshine and 40s, and then look at the stretch of warm days. We're back to sunshine and 60s early next week.
Kathy, thank you. Oh my goodness, the feedback tonight. John up in Snowmass Village, thanks for the informative and humorous news coverage. Why can't it be both, right? DJ and Jay both wrote in asking for an hour-long next every night. No. A text, amazing you can function so well on decaf. There are days that I wish that I was still on the full strength stuff. Uncle Kyle, nice to see the comfy sweater and the fire. Some great kudos around town. Nancy wants to shout out the Excel crews. She said she lost power, appreciates their work. Amy wants to shout out the delivery grocery people. Are you kidding me? See you at 9 and 10.